Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi out here, and I'm real early, 9:10. We've got a preview for today's game against Charlotte Hornets here in Toronto at Scotiabank Arena. This is the second time we'll play Charlotte this year. They actually beat us the first time we played them, and that was like at the very beginning of the season. So we haven't really seen Charlotte in a long, long time. And they are a little bit different than they were at the beginning of the season, obviously. Lots of changes with different players injured and traded and things like that. So let's go ahead and do the latest lineup news for the Raptors game and also the ref report. So let's go ahead and get into it. The Raptors announced yesterday that Ochai Agbaji and RJ Barrett will both take a rest day today. So we'll have no Ochai and no RJ. But that means the flip is Jakob and Emmanuel Quickly will be available for tonight, along with Scotty Barnes. Chris Boucher is still on the injury list for his illness. He is questionable for tonight's game. That is what he is. He's not out for sure, but he's questionable for the game. Grady Dick is still out for sure. Brandon Ingram is out for sure. And Shamshay is out for sure. But otherwise, that's it. Those are the only people on our list. Scotty, Yak, and IQ all ready and raring to go. So what is the starting lineup going to look like for the Raptors tonight? I'm going to guess it's going to be Emmanuel Quickly, Jacoby Walter, Scotty Barnes, maybe Jonathan Mobo, and Jakob Poeltl. That's what I think it'll probably be. That's what I'm looking at for the game tonight. It'll be nice to have IQ and Yak back. Of course, when they're playing, we have a better chance to win. And in some ways, because we beat the Nets so bad on Wednesday, we've got distance in this whole playoff or lottery race, I guess I should call it, lottery race. And we're not, in some ways it's like kind of like, let's just own it and stay here and kind of navigate being in this spot. I mean, if we get some more wins than the Nets and the Sixers at this point, it's not going to affect the percentages. It's really just where you place. So in some ways, these guys do have some leeway to try to win right now. ESPN matchup predictor is predicting we have a 78% chance to beat the Hornets tonight. That's a pretty damn good percentage chance. Seriously, 78%. All right, let's go look at the Hornets injuries, and there's none. There's absolutely not a single injury listed on their injury list, but there are actually guys out. And this is interesting. I go and look at their page for injuries, and it's listing that LaMelo Ball is out for tonight, guys. So it's saying now, it wasn't this way last night when I checked, but it looks like, yeah, LaMelo has been ruled out for the game against the Raptors tonight due to an ankle injury. So LaMelo Ball is not playing tonight all of a sudden, and Josh Okogie is also out for the game tonight due to management of a left hamstring injury. So there are two guys out. Also, their great player, Brandon Miller, he's not playing right now either. I think he's been shut down for the season or something like that because he's nowhere on here either. So no LaMelo, no Brandon Miller, and no Josh Okogie. That's who. So who's on the Hornets at this point? Well, it's looking like they may start KJ Simpson at point guard instead of LaMelo Ball. And you're like, who the hell? KJ Simpson? I know. Josh Green at shooting guard, Daquan Jeffries at small forward, Miles Bridges at power forward, and Mark Williams at the center. And the weird thing is they got Nurkic from the Phoenix in the middle of the season, and they don't even start him. Yusuf Nurkic comes off the bench for the Hornets right now, and he is on their team. Nick Smith Jr. also comes off the bench. Tijani Saloon is on their team also. Yusuf Nurkic. Damian Baugh, Seth Curry is still around, the veteran Seth Curry, the younger brother of Steph Curry. Josh Green, Wendell Moore Jr., Musa Diabate. Let's see. Taj Gibson is still on that team. Taj Gibson's still in this league, man. That's crazy. Yeah, and that's pretty much their team right there. So they're really young. They're really not that talented. They're not that big either. And they're missing their two most important players, LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. You figure it out. You figure it out. The Raptors are going to play Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, and Jakob Poeltl. You figure it out. You figure it out. What do you think's going to happen tonight? That's right. What do you think's going to happen tonight? That's right. So, yeah, that's the Charlotte team. I'm surprised. I said no injuries, but then you go to the one page and it's LaMelo's out. LaMelo is out for tonight. So no LaMelo, no Brandon Miller, no Okogie. That's what's up. All right, referees. We're going to get a ref tonight that we did not see entirely this whole entire season, which is interesting. I was wondering if this guy was even reffing in the league anymore because we hadn't seen him. But he is, and we're going to have him as our crew chief tonight. First of all, in Secaucus, watching from New Jersey will be Natalie Sago, Fennessy Ransom, and Danielle Scott. On the Charlotte Hornets Raptors game at Scotiabank Arena tonight, the crew chief will be David Guthrie. David Guthrie has not reffed a single game for the Raptors this year. This will be the first game he's reffed for us this regular season. He's number 16, his 20th season out of Athens, Georgia. He likes the show West Wing. He likes the movie The Shawshank Redemption. His favorite musician is the Eagles. His favorite book is The Match. His favorite meal is steak, whipped potatoes, and broccoli. He likes the PGA Tour app. He'd most like to visit Hawaii. He'd also like to play golf at Augusta National and Cypress Point. And his hidden talent is hitting fungos, which is like a baseball thing. Yeah, David Guthrie considers his most memorable NBA assignment to be his first NBA Finals Game 2 between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors in 2018. Yeah, David Guthrie is interesting. He's right in the middle on the ref report spreadsheet. He's right around the Raptors' franchise win percentage for their team overall. We win 49% of our games. 49% of our games. Meanwhile, the Hornets win 40% of their games with David Guthrie. So we do have a favor with the crew chief, 49-40. And he has not reffed any games for us this year. So I can't tell you what our record is for the year. The second ref is one of our favorites. He honestly is the best ref for us statistically in some ways. Jason Goldenberg, number 35, in his 8th season out of Atlanta, Georgia. So we got 2 Georgia boys as 2 of the refs. His favorite TV show is Curb Your Enthusiasm. He likes the movie Tommy Boy. He listens to Rufus Du Sol. His favorite book is Ego is the Enemy. His favorite meal is chicken parmesan. His favorite app is the NBA app. He most like to visit Australia. And his bucket list is to sail the world around the world in a mega yacht. Jason Goldenberg joined the NBA officiating staff after 5 years as a G League ref. He worked the 2015 NBA G League Finals. Yeah, Goldenberg's awesome. He's right at the top of my spreadsheet. He's the longest time ref with a pretty good percentage. He's probably third out of everybody. I think it's Merkovich number 1, Brett Nansel, and then Jason Goldenberg. And yeah, his percentage with us is we win 2 out of 3 games when we have him around. Like if there's every 3 games, we win 2 out of the 3. So we're 67% with Jason Goldenberg. And the Hornets are 45%. So 67 to 45% for the Raptors. And this season, our record with Jason Goldenberg is 2-3. We lost the last game he reffed. I think it was that game where Jamal Shedd's shot didn't count. He was like the second ref with Josh Tiven in that game. I'm not totally sure, though. 2-3 is the record with Jason Goldenberg this year. The third ref is a bad ref. As good as Jason Goldenberg is, this guy's so bad. So bad. He's at the very bottom of my ref report spreadsheet. CJ Washington, number 12, in his 9th season out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His favorite TV show is Godfather of Harlem. His favorite movie is Life. He likes to listen to Anthony Hamilton. His favorite book is Rise of the King. His favorite meal is lasagna. He'd most like to visit Italy. And his bucket list is to attend a football game at Notre Dame Stadium. PJ Washington spent 10 years as a Division I. CJ Washington spent 10 years as a Division I collegiate official with assignments in the SEC, Conference USA, Southwestern Athletic Conference, and Southland Conference. He also has 5 years of high school officiating experience in Louisiana and Texas. Yeah, just as much as Goldenberg's at the top, this guy's at the very bottom. And we've lost all 3 games that he's reffed this year already this year. Our percentage is very equal to Charlotte with him. We win 34.8% and they win 34.6%. So 35 to 35 is the split. It's pretty even. So we'll just call CJ Washington even between the Hornets and the Raptors today. So yeah, there's your ref crew. It really is kind of the 3 different levels you can have. David Guthrie's right in the middle. Jason Goldenberg's at top, awesome ref. And then CJ Washington's one of the worst refs for the Raptors. And that is our ref report. So, yeah, I think that Guthrie And Goldenberg will handle the game mostly. CJ Washington's the least senior official. And also because we have home court, and also because the Hornets are really not talented. We're going to kick the Hornets' ass today. Yeah, we are. And we should win. And Monique should be very happy tonight because we should beat the Hornets tonight. You guys want to see a hoodie I got? Look at that. It's like a skeleton raptor. It's really nice. Adriana got it for me. She's really, really sweet and kind for giving me this hoodie. All right, let's see what's going on with y'all in the chat real quick. Trevor J's first. He's saying one day it's all going to click. You'll see why the timing was perfect, why things had to fall apart, and why every setback was really setting you up for something greater. Trust the process, even when it doesn't make sense. Keep pushing, keep growing, and most importantly, love yourself through it all. Damn it, Trevor, how do you know? How do you know, man? All right, I'm not doing this. I'm going to keep going on my stream. I'm not doing this right now because I can't. I got to keep going. How do you know, Trevor? I don't know how you know, man. You got to stop. You're scaring me because you really do know stuff. All right, let me keep going. I appreciate your words of wisdom. I need them more than ever right now. I really do. Trevor's saying, happy game, get another W tonight. Win-win. I think we will. ESPN says 78% chance we'll win. The referees aren't bad. The Hornets do not have LaMelo. They do not have Brandon Miller. And we are clicking. We're playing good. We played really good against Brooklyn on Wednesday. And I expect us to do the same thing tonight and kick their ass. Yeah, especially it's a home game. And in some ways, we don't have many games left this season. We want to send the people at the Scotiabank Arena away with good wins before the season's over. So hopefully we'll get win number 27 tonight. That's what I'm hoping will happen. And we'll have to see. Nako's here. Good to see Gerald. I don't like Swider as much as Colin. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, look, he's only played one game. And in some ways, Colin wasn't the most exceptional in his first couple games for the Raptors either. He had a lot to work out. So maybe there'll be something that happens. Maybe we'll see a little bit more added on with Cole Schwider tonight as far as, what he can offer the Raptors. But yeah, I wasn't impressed in his first game either, Nako. And I mean, it really, like we said, there's limited spots on NBA rosters. And if we're trying guys out on 10 days at the end of the season and we're looking at them, if there's a power rankings, Colin Castleton's at the top right now. Orlando Robinson's not in this competition because he's already kind of been dealt with for the rest of the season and stuff like that. I'm talking about the guys who come in on the 10 days. And, man, Cole Swider has a huge hill to overcome because Castleton was so phenomenal. He really did do a good job when he was on our team. I really do believe that. DK's here. Good to see DK once again. Morning Hornets versus Raptors preview, 7:30 p.m. Tonight is this tip-off. I'll be ready for that game. I'll be in the Facebook chat if people want to talk to me during the game and enjoy observations and different things that are going on during the game. It's fun in there. We get to hear from Monique and MJ and Trevor and Tristan's been in there recently, which has been a lot of fun too. So yeah, hopefully other people can join us in there. You become a member of the channel. You get access to our Facebook chat during the game and real-time talk. Reggie's here. Good to see Reggie checking in. Neil saying Swider is just a placeholder. Front office does not want to commit the spot, and that is understandable. Besides, Swider is using this opportunity for next season as he should. Same goes for Colin. Yeah. I mean, just because, Nako and we're not impressed. It could be that there's other people around the NBA that will be. In some ways, I don't know. Like you're saying, he's a placeholder. It's just that we've got to have somebody in there and not invest money. Some of it's financial, like with salary cap. You sign on Colin Castleton for the rest of the year, and that goes on your cap in certain ways. So in some ways, it's cheaper and more budgetary to just do 10 days to the end of the year and just do them that way. And I know that's part of the thinking in this also is we in some ways it's a little bit dangerous and risky because you don't have access or you don't have Colin Castleton for sure. And this summer, he could have options and change his mind about being back with the Raptors. But he does know what it's like here. He's been with the team. He's gotten along with them. He knows what to expect from the coach and the organization. So we do have that in favor, but that's never guaranteed, especially in this situation and the smaller time players that are just on the fringes of the roster. That's why, stuff like Carlson could go to Oklahoma City and stuff like that. It's just how it works. So we'll have to see what happens there. Yeah, let's see. Smooth saying Swider's been on so many teams. Maybe he's a specialist and can't do anything else well. That's what I think. That's what I think in some ways, Reggie. Honestly, I know he's a really good shooter. And we know that he can do that. But that's why I was saying he's like this year's Joe Weezy, is because Joe Weezy, he tried to show us doing other stuff. He was always a subpar defender. He could rebound to a certain extent, which was pretty good. And he did block shots every once in a while, which was very interesting about Joe Wieskamp. But in some ways, I haven't seen anything from Swider. Like, he didn't even show anything about other than shooting from three, like any kind of offense, like inside the lane or anything like that. And I don't know. In some ways, it's like I said, he's got a tall hill to climb to overcome the impression that Colin Castleton has made on the Raptors already. That's what I think it is right there. Yeah, specialist. Well, is that the kind of specialist we need on this team? I mean, Jamison Battle is that kind of specialist, and he's very got a proven track record. In some ways, he's bigger than Swider, and already Jamison Battle is showing that he can contribute in ways like other than just 3-point shooting at this point. He's really starting to round his game out more and more as the year goes on. Nako's saying, after Shamshay and Battle, my favorite 10-day two-way guy is Colin. And at this point, I don't think we need a shooter on a 10-day. Yeah, we just got him for right now. It's a tryout. In some ways, it's a favor for him. In some ways, it's a reward for being one of the leading scorers in the G League. That's really kind of what happened. Is Swider was averaging over 21 points in the G League and tearing it up down there. So he looked really good in G League this year. So that's part of it right there. In some ways, they want to look at him, see what he's all about. Swoo say it seems like Matt Thomas, in my opinion. Yeah, that's another decent comparison. I think he's a little bit taller than Matt Thomas, but it does seem like that's kind of the same player build kind of stuff, the same stuff that he can offer. The thing that I don't like about him possibly is that he's probably a defensive downgrade. Like, you play most people on our roster out there in that spot in those minutes, we're going to have a better defender out there than him. And I don't think he's a very good defender. I looked at him and he just doesn't seem like he gets after it. He just doesn't seem like he has the athleticism or talent to be a very top level kind of, or any kind of very good defender. It seems like he could get beat by people pretty easy. That's probably my biggest knock on him. So guys, let's go ahead and do our Canadian content for today. My Canadian product of the day is jam, y'all. That's right. Did you know that you could get Canadian jam, y'all? Don't be buying no American jam, Smuckers bullshit. Yeah, get Crofters. Crofters is a company that's here in Ontario. They're based in Parry Sound, and they're a family that came from Germany, and they settled in Northern Ontario, and they started doing jams, and they started really small time in the 90s. And they've gotten bigger and bigger because their stuff is getting better and better. But if you want a Canadian jam product, Crofters is your choice. And I think it's in a lot of places at this point. Once again, if you go to a grocery store and they're not carrying Canadian jam, 100% Canadian Ontario jam, you request it and tell them, I want you to bring in Crofters because we want to buy Canadian. And if you could get them in your inventory, I would buy this all the time over Smuckers and the American brands that are making money off of us. And in this tariff war, we want to do something to fight Trump and his bullshit. Buy Canadian jam, Crofters. And this is a berry harvest flavor, which is a lot of different jams together. So it looks like it's got some strawberry, raspberry, blueberry, blackberries. Very, very good. I love this stuff. I've had strawberry before already and stuff like that. But yeah, the Crofters family, like I said, they moved from Germany to Parry Sound a long time ago, and they started it with a laundromat, and then they started jamming stuff up there, and they just got bigger and bigger because the jam is good, and they've gotten to a big wholesale kind of level at this point. So let's support a Canadian company, a Canadian jam that comes from our country, our province, and does not come from very far. You think about the pollution less because the truck doesn't have to drive as far to bring it to the stores because it's from us here locally. So yeah, Crofters. That is my Canadian product of the day. Go get your Crofters jam because this stuff is sweet, too sweet, and it's really, really good. I'm telling you, it's a great jam. And we want to buy Canadian. This is your Canadian product right there, Crofters jam. That's right. We got the jam today, y'all. Jamming out. That's right. And if every day I'm going to try and have a new Canadian product on the show to teach people how to buy more Canadian. So Crofters jam. There you go. Trevor's saying, let's judge him after 4 more games. See, Trevor's a big fan of Cole Schwider, and he doesn't like me bad talking him right now. He's like, Lex, come on, give him a chance. I don't know, man. I'm harsh. I'm tough. I'm cutthroat. In some ways, I am the way of Wayne Strainer. Is like, no, we don't need to be messing around with people that aren't going to be fitting with us. And I get it. He's a placeholder, like Neil said. He's just in that way for right now. And I get it. He's a tryout. He probably won't go anywhere. And he's just here right now. I'm harsh, man. Trevor, I want high level excellence for our team. Monique and MJ are getting mad about wins and having a certain level of excellence in that way. Well, I have a certain level of excellence as far as the personnel and the players that are going to play on the Toronto Raptors. That's how I feel about it. That's right. No swearing, comma crazy. That's right. Trevor's saying, Lex, I have that jam at my house. I've been supporting them for a long time. My family sent it to me now in Florida. That's awesome. So Trevor's got the Crofters jam in Florida. That is awesome. So you got it sent down there. Yeah, this is great jam, seriously. And it's got a really cool artwork on it. Look at the bear in the front. The bear is the symbol of the guy who runs a company. His name is Bear. That's why there's a bear on it, because the dude's name is Bear. And they're German, like I said. But this is 100% a Canadian product, made, produced. All the fruit was grown in Ontario. Why? You can't go wrong with this. Seriously, we got to fight this bullshit from the States. This is the best way to do it. Buy some awesome jam from Ontario. I'll just go over the flavors real quick with you guys real quick. It's kind of good stuff. Like they've got, let's see, they got the apricot. They got Berry Harvest, which is the one I'm holding right now. Blackberry Seedless, Blueberry Blast, Concord Grape, 4 Fruit, Mango, Morello Cherry, Peach, Pomegranate Power, Raspberry Seedless. I got that Raspberry Seedless before. It's really good. Strawberry Banana, and Wild Blueberries. So they have quite a multitude of different flavors of jam with the Crofters brand. So yeah, get in there and get it. That's right. G saying, what was that chip brand again? You mentioned them a few days ago. Covered Bridge. Yeah, I know it's a weird name. Covered Bridge potato chips is completely Canadian and is a really good chips, honestly. Covered Bridge is the name of the chips. Yeah, you can find them at a lot of places around Ontario, specifically Vince's Supermarket. So if you go to Vince's Supermarket, if you have one near you, that's a perfect place to find Covered Bridge. And all these products I've been showing, honestly, are at Vince's because that's where I bought them. So yeah, Smooth saying, I'm surprised Colin didn't stick. He showed enough to get a training camp invite next year. He did for sure, and he will. I'm not going to be shocked if we see him on our summer league team this summer. I think that'll be the first sign that Colin's still in the fold, is that he is on our summer league roster and playing for us in Vegas. So I could see that. I could see that happening. And then, we'll have to see. Training camp, he'll probably be on training camp. And we'll see if he makes the team for next year in training camp. I'll bet you all that stuff will happen. It's very similar, once again, to Jemias Ramsey last year. Jemias Ramsey did 2 10-day contracts with us, and then we cut him, and he was gone. And everybody's like, why? He was good. We wanted him. But then Jemias was in our training camp this season. He didn't make the team, but he came back, and he was involved in our training camp. So that's just how it works in some ways. It's like that's the position that Castleton's in right now, is the Jemias Ramsey position last year. So, yeah. All right, let's see what's going on. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy game day. Good morning to you, MJ. Hope you're having a great Friday, TGIF, and all the best to Fiercey Jr. and her exploits on the hardwood. That's what I got to say right there. Yeah. Trevor's saying, my daughter just came back from Trinidad, and she brought back a lot of different products. Cool. Yeah, I'm just saying, I know Trevor in some ways, he could help us buy Canadian. It's tough, though, where he's in Florida. It's tough to boycott American products when he's in America. But it's interesting because I see on Facebook there are a lot of Americans and people that live in the States that are mad about the things that are going on in their country, and they are buying Canadian from inside America. They're like saying, you know what, this tariff war, we feel like it's unfair, it's unjust, and he brought it up for no good reason at all. It's some bullshit. We're going to support Canada, and we're going to buy Canadian within the United States. So there's a lot of American people that are awesome and that are doing that right now. And we appreciate them. And Trevor's one of them. That's right. Trevor's one of them. That's right. I'll go saying, if we don't get a center in the draft, we have no reason not to bring him back. You know, that's a good point. I would agree with that, Gerald. We have no reason other than I don't know if we have the money or the roster spot. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. We should have the money, maybe the roster spot. We're not totally sure about that. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. In some ways, he is serviceable, and he did play well with our guys to an extent. He was a little rough at the beginning, but he started to really find his way. And by the end, you know, he was flirting with double doubles, just like Orlando Robinson. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. There's a lot of time and a lot of things that have to happen. And well, the draft, as you said, if we don't draft a center, well, maybe that is one of our backup options. Of course, y'all have been so good about bringing me names for the draft that, you know, there's a lot of backup center options in the second round also. If we do draft for talent and best available from our first round pick, I could see us doing something like the Avicic brothers late in the second round with that pick that we got. I think it's Portland's pick. That's what Tristan was saying the other day, that our second round pick is from the Trailblazers. And, you know, that could be a pretty decent pick, seeing as they're not very good team this year, right? All right, let's see. Fiercey saying Josh Giddey hitting a logo 3 at the buzzer. Lakers Nation is in shambles. LeBron also made a big mistake inbounding the ball. He was frustrated. Well, this is awesome. This is kind of like, once again, you know, there's an evening out. There's a yin and a yang. And if LeBron can make a last-second shot with Jarace Walker not boxing them out against the Pacers, then and they win at the last buzzer. Well, Josh Giddey hits a logo shot to beat the Lakers at the last second for the Bulls. I love it. It's just the NBA evening out. And it's just like the other day. Like, I forgot to mention this. In the Brooklyn game, there was one point where RJ Barrett threw the ball off of Orlando Robinson's face, and it went in the hoop. And Jack Armstrong said something like, I have never seen that in all of my years of watching basketball, ever. I've never seen that. And that's one of the most amazing things about basketball, is that you will see things happen in games that you have never seen happen in your entire lifetime. And that was true in that moment. I forgot to bring it up. I'm glad I remembered just now. That was weird when RJ threw the ball to Orlando and it bounced off his face, hopped up, and went into the hoop. Wasn't that crazy when that happened in the last game? I've never seen that either. When Jack was saying that, I was like, yeah, I've never seen that either. I've never seen somebody shoot a ball off someone's face into the basket. In some ways, they should have gave the shot to RJ, but I'm pretty sure they gave the shot to Orlando, even though he just touched the ball with his face. He never touched it with his hands. It just went boop and went up and went in the basket. So weird, man. What a weird ricochet. That was weird. You know that was weird when you saw that. Have y'all ever seen that either? No, you have not. You've never seen somebody shoot a ball off another player's face and put it in the basket. That was weird, man. That was really, really weird. Yeah, let's see what else is going on. Smooth saying, apparently the U.S. said there will be no tariffs on automotives if the cars are made with 50% sourced U.S. parts. Okay. I mean, I don't know what to believe anymore. I feel like in some ways they lie and they say that they're not going to do stuff, and then they turn around and do it anyway. Like they're lying. They're lying half the time. I don't believe jack shit with what they're saying. They'll say we're not doing this. Oh, we are doing this. I don't even know. I don't care. In some ways, half the shit that it sounds like they're doing is evil and really messed up and crazy. Like, one thing I heard yesterday is that they have a new hotline where polluting companies can call, and he'll give pardons to them on the EPA Act so that they can go ahead and pollute worse and break pollution laws that were already grounded. Like, the EPA has certain standards for companies and their discharge of their smokestacks and, you know, just everything for environmental protection. Well, Trump's like, I don't give a shit about climate change. I don't give a shit about any of this stuff. We want corporations to do whatever the fuck they want and run roughshod over society. And he's set up a hotline where a corrupt, polluting companies can call him and get a pass, a pardon from him personally, presidential pardon, to go ahead and pollute our planet even worse. Doesn't that sound crazy? As yeah, this sounds crazy as yeah, it's crazy, man. Trevor's saying Steph Curry's returning tonight. Good. I'm glad to hear that because honestly, I didn't like that he got hurt. And Warriors fans, hold your tongue and stop coming at Raptors for that. Seriously, y'all obviously have some PTSD from us beating y'all in the finals and injuries that happened to y'all. That when Steph Curry got hurt against us the other day, you went off and you went, "Oh, this is just like 2019." All this, oh, you guys are crazy. Just stop. Seriously, that was a freak accident, and in some ways, we didn't want that to happen. We love Curry. Curry's a native son of Toronto to an extent, and people in Toronto and Canada love Steph Curry. And the Raptors aren't trying to hurt him either. Everybody on the Raptors is young, and they all look up to Steph Curry. Trust me. Jonathan Mobo thinks that Steph Curry is our hero, and he wouldn't try to hurt him on purpose. So, Warriors fans, pause. Reggie saying Suns, Mavs, and Spurs all in a battle for that last play-in spot. Yeah, it's interesting that you're putting the Spurs in there. Now, where is it exactly? Because I know this is something that we've debated about, and I have full faith in the Suns getting that spot in the end. But I know that some of y'all think it's going to be the Mavericks still. So let's go look and see what's going on with the playoff race over there. So now, right now, as it is Dallas in there by half game. 36-38 is their record. They won a game, and the Suns lost their last game, so they're 35-38. So it's just like a half game difference. Now, the Spurs are not actually, they're tied with Portland. So it's Portland, too, if you want to include all of them. But honestly, they're 3.5 games back of the Suns. And with only like 9 games to go in the season, I don't think that Portland or San Antonio have a real chance. So it really is between Dallas and Phoenix. It's one thing to overcome one team in the playoff race, but to overcome 2 teams and get above them is really, really hard. And Portland and San Antonio probably don't have enough time to do it. And honestly, they don't want to probably also. That's what I would say. But yeah, Dallas and Phoenix is definitely in play because there's only a half game between the two of them. And you know what's actually really interesting? Sacramento's right there also. Sacramento is just a half game ahead of Dallas at 36-37. So in some ways, there is an alternative where DeMar and Jonas fall out of the play-in, and the Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns both get in the play-in. So that's interesting. On the standings watch for us, the Nets have been officially eliminated from the playoffs. They're losing to us the other night, losing 5 games in a row. That's how fringe we are as far as being in the playoffs right now, guys. It's like if we lose any games coming up, we're going to be eliminated from playoff contention. And Sixers are going to be getting eliminated from playoffs sooner than us. In fact, they have the same record as the Nets right now, and they are not eliminated, but the Nets are because of a tiebreaker between the Sixers and the Nets. So that's very interesting. Yeah, eliminated from playoffs. Jordy Fernandez's Brooklyn Nets. The Raptors did that the other night. Yeah. Let's see. Reggie's saying, Lex, did you know most of the cars in China are electric? Yeah, I did know that they've been doing a good job. Like, the crazy thing is China and India have such booming populations. And in some ways, they've also been modernizing their society so that there's more and more people that do have cars and do have a lot of different things going on. So there was a whole problem with a lot of pollution in some of the really big cities in India and China. So when, they felt climate change harder than we have. And in some ways, they know it's real. Their leaders are not idiots like the Americans and the PC government up here. They're fucking idiots up here. PC, don't vote PC. Don't vote for Paul Revere. He's an idiot because they deny climate because they just want to allow business for big corporate like oil companies and bullshit like that. And they know because they've had severe climate issues in India and China with their very, very densely populated areas. That they've seen the health ramifications and the problems, and they've gotten their acts together with things like the Paris Agreement, and they have been actually doing it right, and they're seeing great outcomes from it. Meanwhile, we're going backwards here, and we've got an idiot that set up a hotline that I just told you about, like in the last 5 minutes. So It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, I do believe this. The other thing is that they also have very good high-speed rail in China, so that a lot of people can get around the country really easily in a fast way, an efficient way, with a rail system that doesn't have any kind of emissions or anything like that. So it's like they're doing a lot of things way better in those 2 countries in some ways than we are on this continent. And the sad thing is we shouldn't be like this. It's just that corporations and companies rule all kinds of shit, and they want to cut corners, and they don't care about ruining our planet. They just want to make money for the shareholders, and they only care about that. And well, a lot of stuff gets missed in the middle because of that, whether it's ingenuity and development, whether it's, protection of our environment, or it's even protecting their workers, shit like that. All that stuff is crazy. Trevor's saying the SGA dropped 37 to beat the Grizzlies last night. That was a marquee matchup. You got Grizzlies versus uh, uh, Thunder. That's 2 of the best Western teams, in my opinion. And well, the Thunder handled them, beat their ass like it was nothing. I'm just saying the Thunder are for real, man. And I want to see them win the championship this year. Seriously, I am fully invested in an SGA championship and a Finals MVP for him, because it'll look real good for our great Canadian that's playing right now. Him and Lou Dort, NBA champions. I'd love to see that. Love to see that this year. That's right. In some ways, they're the team I'm rooting for the hardest for the postseason this year, because I really do feel like they have the best chance in a lot of ways. We'll see. The lessons from last year will come through this year, and they'll get further in the playoffs. Gerald's saying Kings or Mavs are the best team out of all those. Kings or Mavs? Well, I know, I get it. The Suns are messed up, but one thing we can't forget is, Kevin can be a certain way for most of the season. But if it comes to playoff time, Kevin Durant wants to turn it on like he did that one game when he played against us in the finals. Yeah, he can turn it on. And that's the thing. So don't ever count out the Suns in some ways just because of that Hall of Fame talent that is on their roster. So that's something that you gotta count right there. That's what you gotta count right there. Swiss saying, Lex, do you think Jordy Fernandez would have taken the Nets job knowing what he knows now? Yes. Yes. I think that, everybody who's in line to make the NBA as a head coach is waiting. And sometimes the opportunity is not the best, but they're just happy to be an NBA head coach to get their foot in the door. And so, yes, I know it has not been easy. Obviously, you don't like losing, but just like Darko, they feel honored to be one of 30 people that gets this job in the world. That's really, really like the pinnacle, the highest level of coaching in basketball in some ways in the whole entire world, honestly. There may be some more prestigious jobs in Euro basket somewhere in some people's eyes, but being one of the 30 NBA head coaches, even if you're on a bad team and it's really painful, it's still what you wanted. And in some ways, the thing is, Jordy has got some time to get it right. Like nobody expects them to win right now. So in some ways, he has some time to get it right, and he has a little bit of a runway for failure right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said yesterday, I feel like the next person who needs to get fired in Brooklyn, if they don't get things going right, is Sean Marks, and they may want to keep Fernandez before they keep Sean Marks. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. James is saying 50% sourced U.S. parts. We should take that deal better than 20,000 people losing jobs. Well, what Carney's saying is that he wants us to become independent of them with the parts. And I get it. It's a weird thing where, cars are made with parts from both sides, and the parts come across the border back and forth to make a car. And, the car dealerships, the manufacturers that have plants here in Canada, it's getting a little sticky because of the tariffs and the bullshit. But, I don't know all the finer minutia of this car tariff stuff, but I like what Prime Minister Carney's saying about making us more independent as a country in general in our manufacturing sector. And maybe we can start manufacturing cars solely on our own and not need to use American parts or anything like that. I don't know. That's what we should be looking into. There's very smart Canadian entrepreneurs. They need to be looking at the holes in our industry that are not filled by Canadian products and start trying to fill those holes. That would be very smart for business people in this country that want to do something, because the need is there now. And some of this stuff that Americans have been filling for us, we need somebody Canadian to fill in for us. So I'm serious. Anybody out there who's got a business mind that listens to me, this is your opportunity right now to get your foot in the door, and you could possibly become very successful because of this particular specific situation with the tariff war right now. So I'm just saying, it just takes a little research. Look at what is out there that's fully a US made that we depend on. And if you have the means and ability to make it here yourself, there you go. That's easy money right there, because you go step into that right there. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Let's see. G saying it's already like that between Canada and the US. They trade parts 6-8 times a day. This is not a win. This has been the norm. Yeah, I think it's because it's because he's threatened so much that, okay, well, we'll just do what we've always done. It seems like a win because he's trying to do stuff. I think that's what it is right there. Caruso always okay. Let's see. James is saying that Giddey bailing out in Chicago. Do you think Caruso for Giddey was a good deal? Caruso always injured. It fit both teams. Honestly, I thought it was a good deal for both teams, because the thing is, yeah, you're seeing Giddey do what he did last night, and he's been absolutely fantastic for the Bulls. In some ways, he's been better for them than Zach LaVine. Seriously, Giddey is a more well-rounded player as far as he does some really good rebounding. He's such a good playmaker, and he's just a glue guy. And in some ways, he's not like a Scotty player. And Chicago having him, that's really nice. In some ways, he didn't totally fit in the Thunder because the Thunder didn't really need him. In some ways, he was like an excess of like things with SGA and different people. So they could afford to trade him out. And what the Thunder got in return is veteran leadership. And that's going to be really handy in the postseason. And that's where Caruso's going to pay off. I understand he's hurt and maybe he doesn't even play. That would be a waste. And it does look like the Giddey's the better part of the trade. But Caruso could pay off big time for Oklahoma City in the months to come in the postseason. That's what I'll say right there. That's what I'll say right there, because I believe that could happen. Carlo's here. Morning, Lex, Philly Freaks. Good morning to you, Carlo JS. Always good to see my good friend Carlo. It looks like the Bulls did something good by acquiring Giddey to be their cornerstone instead of relying on a draft pick. Yeah, I think he's fitting in there. I think that he likes being there. And, they just need to do better around him. Mark Eversley is an interesting guy. He's a former Raptor employee. And, we want to root for him and wish him well as a part of the Raptors family past. Hey, they came out with a new open gym yesterday, guys. That was awesome. You guys haven't seen the new open gym? It's kind of like this is what I said in the chat yesterday. It's kind of like Raptors Delight comes out with an episode and Open Gym's like, hold my beer, I'm coming. It's like Raptors Delight puts an episode out and Open Gym comes out with a banger like 2 days later. Always. That's happened every single time Raptors Delight's done an episode. Open Gym comes out with a badass episode within 3 days afterwards. And it makes the Raptors Delight look amateurish. It really does. Because once again, Open Gym, wow. I am amazed at how good you guys are at storytelling. And this episode was awesome because it chronicled our playoff history without the championship year. It was like all the playoffs before. And they really got some really good interviews with Alvin Williams, Kevin Willis, Charles Oakley, and Vince Carter about the early playoff appearances of the Raptors against the Knicks and the Sixers those 2 years. And talking about like losing to the Knicks the first year and then coming and back and beating them the next year. And I loved hearing Glenn Grunwald talk about how happy Charles Oakley was to beat the Knicks in the Raptors' first ever playoff series win. Like, I love that because in some ways Oakley had to actually grind with the Knicks, even though he was a longtime Knicks legend, and they love him in New York. They do. But he felt real good coming back and beating Patrick Ewing and his team. It was awesome, man. I love that. I love that Glenn said that too. It's like me and Oak just looked at each other. We nodded. I love that so much. But yeah, hearing Vince go over this stuff was awesome. Once again, Vince is getting more and more of my good books. Like, in this appearance in Open Gym went a long way because Vince was talking about the playoff runs. And the thing that he said that really stood out to me the most on that Open Gym episode that came out yesterday is that he never got the same feeling in the playoffs as he did in that Philadelphia series with Allen Iverson ever again for the rest of his career. That he went to the playoffs after that for other teams, especially the Nets, but it was never the same kind of magic as Iverson versus Carter in 2001 in the Eastern Conference semifinals when those two guys were dueling and putting up 50 bags on each other. And I get that, Vince. And I love that in some ways you come around. Now, I know you're on the record for saying your peak of your career and your best playing days were in New Jersey. But honestly, your fame and the accolades and everything that you did that's important in some ways in this league was in a Raptor jersey, honestly. And I love to hear that, like, the magic of that series just was never recaptured again in your entire long career after 2001. It's amazing, man. And then, of course, they chronicle a little bit of the Bosch playoff years, not really a whole lot. TJ Ford was in there for a sec, and he admitted that his best years in the NBA were when he was a Raptor. And I loved hearing that from him. You know, I love hearing from Gravis Vasquez, Amir Johnson, Terrence Ross, all that stuff talking about the early years of Kyle and DeMar and the build up to the championship. And you really get the feeling that Raptors Delight did not get across properly of how important people like DeMar DeRozan, Dwayne Casey, Jonas Valanciunas, Terrence Ross, Patrick Patterson, Gravis Vasquez, Amir Johnson were to building up the Toronto Raptors to get the championship in 2019. Because you saw that build and what they were talking about. And sure, they gave the just due to LeBron. And Kyle's saying, we just couldn't fucking beat that motherfucker. He said that in the episode. Yeah, it was just top notch once again. And DeMar is amazing. Kyle's amazing. And I just love what Open Gym does. They just do such a good job. And seriously, I reject Raptors Delight's account of trying to capture the 30-year history of the Raptors up to the championship. And we say, we don't need you to do this. We've got Open Gym already. And Open Gym is like the bona fide A+ premium Magnum version. And y'all are a fucking Wish version of Open Gym, Raptors Delight. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. That's just how it is. And y'all can watch the last 3 Open Gym episodes this season, and you know exactly what I'm saying is true. Because they have gone above and beyond. I'm serious. I feel like they've been like, okay, Raptors Delight, this is what y'all going to do, Open Gym. All right, we'll hold our beer. We're going to go do something else because we're going to come out and show y'all how to do this correctly. And they did. Man, y'all, if you have not watched the new Open Gym episode, 30 years of playoffs in the Raptors history, it's fantastic. And they, yeah, the next one's about the championship year. And of course, Raptors Delight handled that this week on their episode. But you will not have anything on the Open Gym version of our championship year chronicled. And they did get Kawhi for that one too. And I love that Kawhi's come back and he's talking about the Raptors championship a bit more lately. That's good, Kawhi. In some ways, you need to be smart and you need to embrace your Raptors history because your post-career, this would be very honestly smart for you financially. And also in some ways, you know, you are an important part of our history. And don't be like Chris Bosh. Seriously, just don't be like Chris Bosh. You can be better than this. And if you're a smart businessman, you're a smart guy, you're a fun guy, you're going to open this door and keep it open with the Raptors. Seriously, you're going to keep it open. That's right. That's right. Let's see what else y'all are saying. If y'all saw the Open Gym, go ahead and let me know what y'all saw and what stood out to you about that Open Gym episode that came out yesterday. It was badass. Honestly, I love it. Gravis Vasquez is a badass, man. It's like, and I love how they talk about our crowd and our fans and just like how much we juice them up. Like, seriously, like the Jurassic Park phenomena was a huge deal. And, you know, I forget that we had like 10,000 people outside the arena. We had 18,000 in the arena, 10,000 on down the street, York Street at Jurassic Park. And I was one of those people down there. And DeMar even said like they were out there in the rain, man. I can't believe that's what I'm saying. Real ones recognize real ones. And we recognize you, DeMar, as a real one, as the GROAT. I'm going to say you're the GROAT now. Kyle doesn't need that title anymore. We're going to put it on you for a while on this channel, at least from me. Yeah, you're the GROAT now, DeMar. Yeah, you're the GROAT because real recognizes real. And I recognize how real you were for us. And you recognize how real we are for you. And that's what I'm saying right there. There you go. Let's go. Let's go. Smooth saying Josh Giddey looking more and more like a franchise player. You're right, Carlo. Yeah, it's a great, in some ways, it's a steal. And I think that you guys are right in leaning towards the youth and the potential years ahead of Josh Giddey make them win that trade for Caruso. because in some ways, like you said, Caruso's injured. He's older, and they're not going to get as much tread out of him as Josh Giddey might get in Chicago. So that's interesting. It's interesting to look in on stuff like that and see, well, what's happened with this trade and kind of who won it. Who won the OG IQ RJ trade? Who won that? Who won that? I don't know. Nako's saying create jobs, create more Canadian products. That's right. That's what I'm saying. We've blindly been buying Canadian, American brands in Canada for long, long, long time. They've been so lucky that we bought their products up here. Seriously, we didn't have to do that. A lot of Canadians already were kind of, I buy Canadian because I'm proud of my country and I want money to stay here. But now more and more people are leaning towards that. And the American brands are going to feel this. And they only have one person to blame, and that's their president. That's the only person they have to blame for this shit. They don't blame us because we didn't want to do this. We got to do this because we've been threatened with bullshit. That's right. That's right. DK saying Hornets versus Raptors preview. That's right. That's what we're doing today. And Stargate saying we already manufacture aircraft and subway trains. Airbus A220s are built here. That's what I'm saying. We just got to get, in some ways, this is the kick in the pants that our country needed to just get a little bit more independent and be a little bit more standing on our own. And, I think this is good in some ways because in some ways we need to be able to defend ourselves. We need to be able to keep ourselves strong in our economy and people having houses and jobs. The states, if they have problems, their banks fail, but ours don't because we have better regulation. I'm just saying we don't have to be like them. We can be in a better place in our country if we're smarter with how we do our government and how we do our things because they're destroying their country right now. And we cannot afford a PC government because they're going to go in line with them. Danielle Smith has already shown allegiance with Trump, and I can't understand how any good Albertan can support her. She's a traitor. And Pierre is just as much a traitor down the road. Watch. Because in some ways, that's who they want. That's who Vance and Musk and Trump want is the PC party to win our election. And that is a big, huge mistake because honestly, you trust people like Doug Ford, Danielle Smith, and Pierre Poilievre not to go behind some back door and just cut some money to themselves and sell out our whole entire country just to benefit themselves because that's who they are. And if you don't think that they're that, you're fooling yourself. You can see the action with Therme in Ontario Place and Doug Ford. You can see the action of Danielle Smith going to the inauguration parties of Trump. And this bullshit that they're saying, oh, Pierre's not one of us. Bullshit. He says the same rhetoric that fucking Trump does, exact same kind of shit. So you want to see the equivalent of Trump in Canada? It's Pierre Poilievre. And we need to reject him at the ballot box and be very strong with liberal leadership again in this country. Mark Carney is in the middle. He's not fully a liberal. He's not somebody that I totally like, but he's a good compromise between PC people and liberal people for this election because he's a strong economist. He's somebody that understands a lot of this bullshit that's going on. And quite frankly, I'm following him right now, and everything he's saying and doing right now is badass. Seriously, I'm very impressed with Mark Carney and his platform and what he's going out and saying and how he's uniting Canada. And also how he is very, very, very strongly putting up a front against any kind of bullshit that Trump is saying about Canada right now. I don't trust Poilievre or Danielle Smith or Doug Ford to deal with Trump correctly because, honestly, they are the same species, is what I'll say right now. They are the same fucking species politically. And why would you trust the PC government when it is the equivalent of the Republicans in the United States? And you can see what they're doing to freedom, free speech, and democracy in that country right now. We can't afford that here. And that's why this election is coming up here in Canada. Don't sideline and do not vote blue. Because if you're voting blue, you're voting against the red of the maple leaf on the flag of Canada. And that's all I got to say on that right there. If you disagree with me, you think that the PC government is better to deal with Trump, you're crazy. You are absolutely fucking crazy. Seriously, don't believe that bullshit. Seriously. All right, let's keep going. Neil saying Canada's population size is not big enough to sustain automotive industry on its own. So people need to be making babies. Well, this is the thing. Forget about just us. We have a lot of allies around this world that want to help us also. We start making one car that we don't have to just sell them here. We could sell them to China. We could sell them to Europe. There's a lot of other markets where we could ship cars out to. So let's just see about that. We'll have to see about that. Carlos saying, true, Blackhawk. That's why immigration is needed, even though that has been the ire of, okay, it jumped ahead. Sorry. Let me just see. Where is it? True, Blackhawk. That's why immigration is needed, even though that has been the ire of some people these days. Fortunately, Canada is cutting down on their immigration numbers. And in some ways, that may be good in some ways because of the housing crisis. The housing crisis here is serious. There isn't enough housing for people, affordable housing. And in some ways, the numbers of immigrants coming here has made that problem exasperated. So maybe for right now, in some ways, it's smart to cut down on the immigration numbers, but hopefully we can get back to a place of freedom and prosperity where we can open it back up a little bit more to the other things. But in some ways, we got a lot on our plate right now. And I don't totally disagree with cutting down on entries for immigration right now for Canada. We've been very, very, very open with letting people come here for a long time, and rightfully so. I agree with that kind of thing. But at this point in time right now, in some ways, it signals something politically that's helpful for kind of getting people on your side to kind of cut down on the numbers for right now, and also to kind of get ahead a little bit more on the housing crisis. That's the main thing right here. But I completely agree. Immigration's needed. And, bodies and people will come, whether we procreate or they immigrate. That's something that Canada's always been attractive. And in fact, there's a lot of Canadians. There's a lot of people coming from the border. Like I've heard Americans are coming to the border and they're claiming asylum from Trump, and they want to become Canadians because they feel like, isn't that crazy? I mean, that's true. That's true. There's some people that are trying to come up into Canada right now because they don't agree with Trump and his bullshit, and they want to claim political asylum. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Trevor's saying they're saying Luka's defense will cost the Lakers a shot at the NBA title. Whoa, hello. Maybe that's why Nico traded him. Yeah. You careful what you wish for, Laker Nation. Seriously, you want a star-studded team that don't play no defense? Well, that's what you got. You traded your best defensive player. He may have been even a defensive player of the year at some point, Anthony Davis. Well, you got another guy who plays just like LeBron, and they're kind of the same kind of stuff and the same kind of dogging it on defense kind of stuff. Well, that's what they're saying. That's what they're getting. That's right. That's what they're getting. That's what they're getting. Kaloy saying Open Gym was fire. Looking forward to the next one. I know they'll do the championship year. When I saw the Raptors' history in playoffs, I was like, oh, when they do the championship stuff, it's going to be awesome. But it wasn't even in that episode. They did a really nice build, and they really did kind of hit the different eras of our playoffs, whether it's the early stuff and the purple with Alvin and Vince. And I love Alvin Williams. And people forget he hit that game winner. And I love seeing it on Open Gym and getting that treatment. And Alvin admitting, I kind of screwed up. I lost the ball, but Vince got it back and gave it back to me. And then I hit the shot and we won. That was so awesome. And Alvin did his whole, that move. Yeah, I got to remember, that's Alvin's victory move when he goes like that. Yeah, this is awesome, man. And then, of course, the Bosch era was kind of glossed over. They didn't have very much success in the playoffs with Bosch. So they kind of just showed it a little bit. But then they started showing this stuff when, the 2010s with Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, and all them. And even the series against the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals in 2016 with Bismack and Corey Joseph. And Fred VanVleet was a rookie that year. Yeah, that whole series and the way they told that was really good too. It's tough, man. I mean, LeBron was really at his peak at a certain point in time when the Raptors were really one of the top Eastern Conference teams, and they just couldn't get past them. But everybody says it's us that dealt with them. Well, we weren't the only ones that dealt with the Cavs at that time. The Pacers ran into them every year too. Everybody in the Eastern Conference was finding a dead end with the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James in the 2010s. So it's not a specialty thing to just the Raptors franchise. They all were getting beat by him. I'm sorry. They all were getting beat by him. That's right. That's right. It was fire. And Open Gym, you're just badasses, man. Seriously, I really do feel like they have a little competitive thing going on with the Sportsnet people on Raptors Delight. That they are really like, okay, you're going to try and do this. You're in our racket all of a sudden. You're trying to do this shit that we've been doing for over 10 years, and we kick ass, and we done so well. You really feel the need to come in here and do this MGM grand sports betting bullshit, Sportsnet Rogers motherfuckers? We'll show y'all. You ain't got nothing on us still. And we'll come out with a badass episode right behind. You may have worked on your episode for months. We probably did our shit in weeks. because they're like that. Open gym. You go. You are the king. You are the king. That's right. That's right. Neil saying immigration is the big boogeyman politicians use to get elected. So solutions that don't use immigration have to be used. Yeah, that is one of the things, like, the especially the right wing has said, "Oh, they're coming, they're criminals, they're stealing our jobs, they're this or that," all this kind of bullshit. It's crazy. It's such fear mongering, and it's them kind of stuff, like, "Oh, them. It was trans immigrants. These are the people that are ruining society." No, they're not. The billionaire class is ruining society. The ultra rich, the CEOs of corporations, and fucking lifetime politicians, corrupt politicians. These are the people that are ruining the country and the world. Elon Musk, number one on the list as ruining the world, as a white supremacist, kleptocratic oligarch is what he is. That's the technical term. He's a kleptocratic oligarch, y'all, which means he's a kleptocrat, which is a politician, and he's also an oligarch, which means a very rich person that's trying to run the country. And that's, like I said, this is a system that's been in place in Russia for decades in some ways. The oligarchs, the very rich people of Russia, actually run that country, and Putin's just a figurehead. And that's what they're trying to install in the United States right now. And the oligarchs are Zuckerberg, Musk, and people like that. And they want to run and Trump's just a puppet, honestly. Putin, same thing. So it's basically like the US is trying to become Russia right now. Seriously. Trump is trying to make U.S. Russia. It's crazy. I don't understand how red-blooded, true patriotic Americans could stand to let Agent Krasnov come into their fucking country and run their country for Putin, and all the needs and wants that Putin wants is what he's doing. And y'all sucking stupid ass MAGA heads don't even see that this is what's happening. You're that stupid that you can't understand this. It's crazy. I don't understand how they're so stupid, man. Kaloy saying, I was tearing up watching it yesterday. Yeah, me too. There was some parts of it that made me really feel emotional. I think that part with LeBron, when LeBron gives kudos to our crowd, and that moment was awesome. I mean, seriously, we just lost again to the Cavaliers, but in the Eastern Conference Finals. And they beat us for like the third straight year in the playoffs. And our fans wouldn't leave. They stayed in the arena and chanted, "Let's go Raptors," for like 20 minutes after the game was over. LeBron's trying to do his after game interview, and he's like, these fans are really proud of their team, and they're thanking them like crazy because they were done. They were eliminated. They were out, and we stayed and we thanked them like that. I mean, and like LeBron said, that's special. That made me tear up. It made me tear up because it made me realize my personal affinity and emotion and love for the team, the Toronto Raptors, as one of those fans that would be like that would stand there and cheer. Yeah, man, that episode was awesome. If y'all have not watched the Open Gym yesterday, you need to watch it today. You need to watch it. It was so good. I didn't even know it was coming. I was out and about. Then I noticed it all of a sudden. Monique was there in the live premiere. But yeah, it was so good, man. It was so good. And if you're a real Raptors fan, you'll tear up a little bit on it too. You will. Fiercely saying Open Gym putting Raptors delight to shame. Great work, Open Gym. I know. Yeah, this is serious stuff. This is like y'all are Timu, and this is the real deal. Holyfield, Open Gym. Yeah, Sportsnet. Y'all making a Timu version of Open Gym. Why you do that? You didn't need to do that. You even put Game of Zones on your episode. What is this? You're cheating on the test? You're using other people's stuff with your bullshit? With the fucking Game of Zones bullshit? I couldn't believe they put that in their last episode of Raptors Delight. It's so stupid. Why didn't you put Game of Zones on there? You idiots. Wayne's saying, morning, Raptor Freaks. Automobiles are not made by Canadian or American parts, but by at least 4 or 8 nations with at least one part. We have the advantage in energy. We are 85% renewables, need to be 100%. There you go. I like that. Yeah. And, that's something like I've seen some charts recently saying that, the U.S. shouldn't have done this. Actually, in some ways, they've been kind of robbing us. And in some ways, because of this change, they're kind of screwing themselves over. So it's really poor economy kind of decisions that the White House has been making since they took power this year. They really don't know what they're doing, and they're kind of idiotic. I saw a meme where it's like there's like 3 pictures, how the White House sees themselves, and the picture was the Avengers, and then how the people that don't like them see them, and it's like Darth Vader and the Sith and the stormtroopers, and then how they actually are. And it's a picture of Dark Helmet and Spaceballs and those fucking idiots on there. And I thought that was pretty apropos. They think they're the Avengers themselves. They see themselves as the Avengers. They're detractors, and people think that they're like the Empire, but they're actually fucking Rick Moranis on Spaceballs is who they are in reality. That's who they are. I thought that was pretty good. That's pretty accurate, I think. Yeah, Blackhawks saying thumbs down to Raptors delay. Yeah. I mean, there's some really good interviews, and there's a little nuggets of information that were kind of interesting to find out. But once again, it was the seedier tabloid side of the Raptors, and they wanted to go dark side of the Raptors. You might as well call the series Dark Side of the Raptors, not Raptors Delay Sportsnet. Seriously. Why don't you just call it the Dark Side of the Raptors? Because you want to point out all the little negative bullshit things about our history. Seriously, there's all these shows that come out now: Dark Side of the Ring, Dark Side of Comedy, Dark Side of the '90s. You just call it the Dark Side of the Raptors, motherfuckers, because that's how you treated the Raptors franchise with your storytelling of the history. Yeah, let's point out all the little bullshit about the Raptors. Oh, but hey, you'll remember this guy later because I'm a cheeky narrator person. I'm just going to come in and talk down to you guys like you don't know jack shit. But yeah, this person will come in handy later, and you'll find out why later. I don't give a shit, talking person on Raptors Delight shows. You're a fucking idiot. If I never hear your voice ever again, anywhere, I'll be happy. Seriously. I don't ever want to hear that narrator's voice. I don't know what channel he's on. I don't know what sports show he's on. I don't listen to it. If I never hear that motherfucker's voice ever again, other than on Raptors Delight, I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy. So happy. That's right. All right, let's keep going. Smooth saying Toronto should offer Oak a job. He seems like he loved his time here. Oak's got jobs, man. Oak's got a couple jobs already. I mean, he's been heavily involved in Ice Cube's Big Three, and I don't know exactly what his status is with that job. Also Oak's based in Cleveland more now. That's his hometown. And in some ways, I don't know. He loves Toronto. He has no problem with Toronto. He'll come up here and visit. But we got to understand, Oak is kind of a multi-city legend. And it's hard for him to just straight up come work for us. He might do it just to spite James Dolan. And I would love that. But in some ways, I don't know what job he would do. Like Charles Oakley as a coach. Charles Oakley is this. And I don't know what he would do. In some ways, him just kind of being a liaison, a guy who comes and shows up to games every once in a while, that's perfectly good enough for me as far as alumni that is good standing, that shows up on the regular. Like Oakley's at our games at least once a year, it seems like. It's not like he's been hiding. We got to remember, he's got ties to Chicago, New York, Toronto, and Cleveland. And those are all cities that are around Cleveland that he goes to frequent and goes to. The Bulls history matters too, guys. The early part of his career with Michael Jordan matters. The Knicks stuff definitely matters. And the stuff here matters too. So that's what I say. I don't know what he would do, though. I don't know what he would do. What would he do? Would he do like Jamal McGlure and be like a big man coach on Darko's staff? I don't think he wants to be in coaching. He did try coaching for a little while. He did. He was on the coach's staff for Hubie Brown, I think, in Memphis for a little while, like in the mid 2000s. After he retired, he went to coaching immediately. And I don't think it was for him. I think the part of it was he's old school, and he saw how soft some of the young players were coming up, and he didn't have patience for them. And in some ways, he's like, I don't want to deal with these young turkeys. The way that they act ain't nothing like how we acted in the 80s. He's kind of like, I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened with him. He did try coaching for a little bit, but he couldn't stand it. James is saying, Lex, what do you think about EV vehicles? Do you think it's better than gas-powered vehicles, less moving parts? I love my electric truck. Seriously, I have a truck right now that is electric. It's hybrid. It runs on gas, but also it has an EV in it, and it goes back and forth. And I get such good gas mileage. It's fantastic. I think that it is the future, and I think that EV is great as long as it's not Tesla. Don't buy a Tesla, but there's so many great electric vehicles out there right now. I have a hybrid myself, and it was very affordable, and it's also a vehicle that's getting me a lot of payback. In some ways, I don't have my oil My oil consumption or gas consumption of the month is really like less than $100 I spend on gas a month. Seriously, because of my vehicle right now. And I can drive all month. Of course, I don't drive every day and I don't drive all the time, but I can spend less than $100 on gas a month because of my vehicle. And that's fantastic. There's savings in that. It's weird driving a truck that has electric chargers in it. It is heavier and it is a little bit different. It is a little bit different, but I enjoy it. I love my truck so much. I mean, I was driving around in it yesterday and I was just very grateful. I took a moment to appreciate it and feel like, man, this truck's awesome. This truck is awesome. So, yeah, I think there are better. And I think we need to continue to go towards electric vehicles like China. I really, really do. Neil's saying, I got Oakley's Raptors jersey. The big oak is good in my books. Oh, yeah. He was solid the whole time. He can't be nothing else but himself. And if you haven't seen the Raptor and Charles Oakley in the kitchen cooking stuff together, that's hilarious. Y'all need to watch that. That's so funny. It's I think it's like a cream cheese commercial or something like that. I don't remember what the product was they were trying to sell, but it's so funny. Just look up Charles Oakley in the Raptor kitchen and watch that. You'll get a laugh out of that. If you haven't seen it, you have to watch it. Nako's saying, speaking as someone who drives an EV, so there you go. Gerald's got one. They're not as good as buying used. It's more pollution to make an EV battery. You're better off taking public transit for the environment. The drive is nice, though. Well, yeah, the argument here is like sustainability for transportation really should be high-speed rail because in some ways the individual car is in some ways it's freedom, yes. And a lot of people argue like I want to be able to have my own car. But the amount of land that is used for cars is ridiculous. How many miles of highway and concrete are laid for cars? How many parking lots? How much space in downtown Toronto is used to just put cars in it? And sustainable, livable cities have less space that are car oriented and more walkable, more public transit oriented. And there's a lot of countries and cities that are doing this very successfully right now, switching their cities over from car heavy to other things. And it's really awesome. The guy who ran for mayor, Gil Penalosa, was a big advocate for this. He had redesigned some big cities in Brazil, and they had huge changes with all kinds of great things happening by getting away from being car centric. And that's the thing. In some ways, Naga's right. Public transit is the way to go, and mass transit. And everybody having individual cars, and now it's a sign of freedom. People want to have the freedom to have their own car and drive around. So I get that. But there are systems like in Europe and Asia where train systems are so good, people don't need cars, and they can get not just in their city, but through a network of cities because they're all interconnected so well with their mass transportation system. And the U.S. is just behind on this. They're starting to build some of the high-speed rail, and we should build some up here too, because it is the way of the future. And unfortunately, in some ways, having a car and being able to drive your own private vehicle may become a luxury that's only afforded to the ultra rich at some point, and that everybody will have to take public transit because it's just not going to be affordable for people to have their own car at some point. The way it's going with the changes in differences in inequality in income, stuff like that. Trevor's saying Raptors Delight have nothing on Open Gym. A+. Yeah, you're exactly right, man. Exactly right, Trevor. MJ saying OG, hang on, it jumped. Let me make sure. OG, who I greatly admire, has the same role as with us. A defensive specialist who at times shoots threes. He's paid more than with the Knicks, but IQ and RJ are part of our culture rebuilding. Well, if we're gauging this trade, like we were talking about, I still say we got two good starters for one starter. And in some ways, if you really want to look at the stats, like this is the thing, Knicks fans, y'all want to go get the stats for OG, Precious, and Malachi, and we'll get the stats for IQ and RJ. And who was the other person we got? Oh, it was a draft pick. Yeah, isn't it Shed or something like that we got? It's one of the draft picks we got from New York. Is the other person. So we'll take those stats. Maybe we'll just throw Malachi out. We'll just take OG and Precious, and we'll take RJ and IQ and accumulate those two players on each side's stats and see who won that trade. RJ and IQ's stats have gone up, and they look amazing. OG's is about the same as what he was with the Raptors, and I'm pretty sure Precious is about the same too. but both IQ and RJ's stats have both gone up since they became, IQ became a starter on our team, and RJ's gotten better since he's been on the Raptors from coming from the Knicks. So I don't know. You could look at it that way. Is that how you gauge whether somebody won a trade or not? Is look at the stats against each other and who had that? Or do you just look at whether it was the win total for the team went up? Because in some ways, that's the other way you can gauge it, is how did their win shares add to the team overall winning? And OG had a big impact on that for the Knicks. We have to be fair on that. Yeah, James is saying housing and also job crisis. Too much immigration. Canadians can't get no jobs. Now, see, James, that is the narrative they want to give you guys. That's not what the problem is. There's jobs out there. The problem is that the jobs are shitty and the jobs don't pay right and they're dehumanizing. And in some ways, sometimes those are the jobs that the immigrants will take that none of us will want to take otherwise. So in some ways, don't fall for the boogeyman. Oh, immigration is the reason why we don't have jobs. No, that's bullshit. The jobs are out there. Anybody can go get a job they want. It's just that most people don't want to be paid, underpaid, and mistreated for this. In some ways, the workers are taking a stand. And this is part of the reason why the job market's so weird, is because a lot of young people are like, fuck you. I'm not going to come work for minimum wage for your bullshit. And that's why people complain nobody wants jobs. And then some people saying, well, there's no jobs. I mean, what is it? There's either jobs that nobody wants or there's no jobs, right? There's jobs out there. It's just nobody wants to take their shitty ass jobs. And until they come correct with paying people right, that's just how it is. I don't believe this stuff. I don't think that immigrants have anything to do with my life, whether it's housing or jobs. This is just a bullshit that they use as a boogeyman. I believe that. I do. A new immigrant to this country is just as bad as an old person that's been here the whole time as far as causing problems for this. That's the thing. They try to them this. That's what I'm saying. Neil's saying Africa is where the opportunity is now, as there is no clear winner with the emerging wealth. I don't think that's true. There is a clear winner with the emerging wealth, and it's China. It's China. China and India are going to be the world powers soon, because the U.S. has destroyed itself, and they can no longer be like the big boy in the club anymore. They're not going to be that anymore. In some ways, they've turned their backs on their most loyal, amazing allies in the world, which is Europe and us, and that made them less strong. Them going with Putin has made them less strong. Putin's on his own island. Russia's been really isolated from us, everybody in the free world, for a long time, and they will continue to do this. It's just that the United States will be added to that list, and they will be isolated. And it'll be very weird for our border, very long border, to have a weird isolation from them all of a sudden, as we embrace bonds with Australia, Asia, and Europe and Africa more than the bonds we have with our neighbor to the south. And that's the way it's going right now. They're idiots. They're really, really stupid. And in some ways, the American people need to continue to mobilize and get out there like they have been for Bernie rallies and different kind of protests that they've already been doing. On May the 1st, or actually, I think they might be doing it sooner. There's a general strike that's coming, guys. And that means basically this. And people up here can participate. Everybody walks off the job. Nobody goes to work. It's just like senior skip day at school. And at some point, everybody's going to say, well, nothing's going to happen because we're all not coming. We're all staying home. We're all striking. And it doesn't matter the industry or the job or anything like that. And some people may lose their jobs, but so be it. In some ways, they want to fuck up the system. That's the best way to do it. Everybody just quits all at once, and nobody goes to work one day. And everybody sees how powerful the collective of the mass of people is when they all are in action together. And that's what's coming. That's what's coming. There's going to be general days of strike coming up. And in some ways, Canadians up here have the option to do it themselves if they don't believe in the corporate structure of politics right now also. The United States definitely needs to do this because they need to send the message very clear to their leadership right now. They really do. They really, really do. Kaloy saying it's so funny how Toronto started Jurassic Park and everybody started copying it. Yeah. Yeah. And the Leafs tried to rename it Maple Leaf Square. They're so like scared or inferior feeling that they're like, oh no, it's Jurassic Park. And the Raptors franchise made something of our outside of our arena. Well, we better call it Maple Leaf Square to make sure hockey centric is out here. And we better fucking get a whole bunch of hockey statues out here to boot also. It's so dumb, man. Those hockey statues kind of bug me in some ways because they're just sitting out there like that. I mean, I should honor the Leafs history and be like respectful of it, but in some ways I don't. Fuck the Leafs. Fuck their bullshit. And fuck their losing since the 60s and their overimportance in the city. Seriously. I'll say that as a Raptors fan. In some ways, I want the Leafs to win just to shut that fucking nation up from all this stuff. But in some ways, I also realize Leaf fans would become insufferable if they did actually win a cup. And they may be very annoying. And in some ways, in a world where the Leafs have won a nearer championship than the Raptors, I don't know if I want to live in it. Because they'll start saying more stuff in some ways. It's much better that the Raptors are the last champion in Toronto. Just trust me on that. Just trust me on that. Now, let's see. Tristan's here. Good to see Tristan. Open Gym is good production. Amazing. Just it inspires. It builds you up. And Raptors Delight makes you feel put down. If you love the Raptors, Raptors Delight will insult you. Meanwhile, Open Gym will inspire you to go out and take on the world and conquer it. You know, they have that music, the build, the emotions, the narratives, the storytelling. And meanwhile, I got snarky ass commentator in Game of Zones on Raptors Delight, gaslighting me as a Raptors fan. Come on now, Sportsnet. Know your audience. Know your audience, Rogers. We're fans of the team. We're not trying to be gaslighted and hate the team like y'all do. You hockey-centric, baseball-centric channel. That's right. That's right. Right there. Yeah, Mobo interview. You like Mobo? Mobo says naps are important, DK. So you better get your nap today. That's right. Nago saying, I kind of wish the Canadian government would buy empty houses from landlords and create affordable housing that way. They do this. They do this. Yeah, there is a program here in Toronto where they reacquire property. Olivia Chow just did an event for this where they were showing off in a complex where they open it up for affordable housing for people. So they do this already, Joe. This idea is already in effect, just so you know. Let's see. Blackhawks saying, solve the housing crisis, and then we can focus on population growth. We have the land, then we can increase basketball fans. Yeah. I mean, whatever. This is something I studied. Fertility, mortality, and migration. That's demography. And you study population. And, you know, it is what it is. You got to balance all that stuff. The problem is with a lot of modern societies, especially in Europe, there's declining population because the birth rate is not higher than the death rate, and they're not replacing people. So there's shrinking populations in a lot of the older countries in Europe. And that's the case here on this continent too. That both Canada and the United States actually have declining birth rates in some ways, that we're not replacing our people because more and more people are not having children. And then also it's just not affordable. That's a big part of it right there. They want us to have children and continue to make workers for their big corporations, but we can't afford to have children, you fuck faces. So it's like, what the fuck? That's not an ecosystem that's going to work when, you know, people are responsibly going to have a lot of children and be poor and have kids in poverty and can't take care of it. But there's some people that are like, I don't want to bring kids into this world if I can't economically, financially take care of them. And they don't, because really kids are expensive. And if they want to understand this, they, you know, they got to understand you got to give livable wages and give people the opportunity to have prosperity financially and stop crushing them economically down to their last cents. No wonder birth rates are down in rich countries because people can't fucking afford to live in them and have kids. Can't afford to buy houses. Can't afford to have kids. So what do you expect? This is a broken society because all of our things that are prioritized are shareholders' dividends at the end of the monthly quarters and make sure that they get a higher profit. And even though it's not sustainable or even realistic to think that profits are going to continue to just multiply and go up and up and up and up. That's part of it right there. That's it right there. That's it. Let's keep going. Trevor's saying Lakers led by as many as 18 points in the fourth quarter and they lost. Hilarious. I love that. Good job, Josh Giddey. Good job, Josh Giddey. I'm a big fan of yours today because you did that to the Lakers nation. I love it. So he's saying, I've been watching some North Korea tour vids on YouTube. Fascinating watch. Yeah, they really have a crazy country over there. It's weird because you can look at aerial pictures from satellites and there's no lights on in that country. You'll see South Korea lit up at night and there is no electricity in North Korea. There's really strange country with a lot of dominance and fascism and no freedom and no democracy. And I'm telling you, the United States is moving towards North Korea right now, the way they're acting right now. Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump are closer to Kim Jong-un than Mark Carney at this point. Seriously. Let's see. So we're saying that these are travel bloggers. They went over there and they went in the country. They're crazy. You go over there and fuck around and never come back. Seriously. I think that one of the most interesting Dark Side of the Rings is the collision in Korea when they did the North Korean pay-per-view with Ric Flair and Antonio Inoki. Woo! You want to watch something interesting about North Korea? Go check out Collision in Korea. Anything on that? They have a couple of different things on YouTube about it. There's Dark Side of the Ring about the whole thing. And there's also Eric Bischoff talking about getting that together and having WCW come to North Korea and do an event there. It's absolutely fascinating. You know, the stories are amazing. Scott Norton saying he's trying to call his wife and he's calling from the hotel and they're listening to him. And then his wife says something on the phone that gets him in trouble. And he's like detained by the North Korean army all of a sudden. It's really wild. Definitely watch that, Reggie, if you haven't seen it before. Seriously. Let's see. He's saying apparently North Korea opened up to tourism after 5 years being closed. After 2 weeks, they closed again. Yeah. You don't want to go over there. Seriously, you do not want to go over there because honestly, you can get in a bad place just from something stupid you didn't even realize is a problem. Seriously, they have a lot of weird rules in North Korea. And you get in trouble for that. Let's see. Blackhawks saying that baseball game where they jazzed up the Canadian anthem was wild. Super big Canadian flag. I love this. In some ways, you know, we really are trying to show our patriotism here in Canada. We've got the old Molson Canadian commercial coming back up with Joe, I am Canadian, meaning more and more powerful. You know, Canadians have not been really that patriotic or like rah, rah, rah Canada, not like the States, but we are becoming more like that. And these anthems in sporting events are hitting harder than ever. You know, when we went to the game last Sunday for the Spurs game, I sang the anthem and I felt the power in the building during that. And of course, during the U.S. anthem, there are people booing. There are people booing during the U.S. anthems up here at this point. There really are. Reggie saying one thing I saw was the tri-border North Korea, Russia, and China. Tourists go there through China for North Americans to see the countries converge. Anyway, enough of that. Yeah, this is a little bit of North Korea side path. We were talking a little off path today, so why not? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Kaloy saying Chinese EVs are next level. BYD is super cheap because they don't pay their workers well. With some, you swap your batteries when they go empty instead of charging. That's weird. That seems like that may have like environmental waste. But I mean, who knows? I don't know what the system is exactly. That's interesting though. With OG is playing with was paying for the now. IQ and RJ is for the future. Future's so bright with the Raptors. Okay, you said that. All right, you said that. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. They wanted it's got caught on my. All right. Anyway, it's true. Like OG's for winning for now for the Knicks and RJ and IQ especially. There's a project there with IQ for him to get more and more as a starter, better and better for sure. I agree with that. MJ saying yes, 2 good starters for one. Not sure how Precious is doing. He's all right. He's a bench big backup. Lex is funny. Let's take Malachi out. He didn't weigh in the trade. Yeah, in some ways, he's just filler. And anyway, he's going to lose to the draft pick that we got in that situation, right? He's going to lose to it, right? Either way. So we're saying $20 an hour is the new living wage here in Ontario. That's just the economic reality of things. Yeah, but is that the true minimum wage? They're still paying people less than that. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if we looked at inflation, we looked at CEO payments and what they're getting paid, all of us would be being paid $44 an hour if it was all keeping up with inflation. Minimum wage would be $44 an hour right now. I've seen that stat before. And that if they kept up with profits and how the economy has gone and everything else going up, we should all be making $44 an hour minimum. That's at McDonald's, everywhere. And I know that doesn't sound feasible or right, but that's if it kept with the pay for CEOs and everybody else and the way it went up. And that's not what we're getting. In fact, we're getting a third of that. In fact, the minimum wage hasn't risen in the United States in a long time. Nako's saying China has had the most productive economy for a while now. Yeah, they're doing things a little bit better on that continent in some ways. DK saying, let's go Raptors winning streak, 27-game winning streak tonight then. All right, get 27 wins. You just overlook the losses, obviously, DK. You're just not looking at the losses. He just doesn't see them. He just doesn't see them. Wayne's here. Kaloy, you are wrong. BYD is technological forward company with efficiencies and not paying executives 75% of earnings like Western firms. Electric vehicles are great, especially with solar generation. Now, that's the part where we'll get real interesting. Solar is really a good way to do things, honestly. Some people really, there's so much paid for bullshit out there by the oil companies, guys. They will make every single thing sound like something's wrong with the electrical charge, the solar, the turbines, that bullshit they were saying it causes cancer, it kills birds, it's not sustainable. What do you do when it's dark out? There's all kinds of dumb shit about wind and solar and electric vehicles that is paid for by big companies like Shell and Exxon and big gas companies, the Saudi Arabians that want to keep their good thing going. So half the shit you hear about EV or any kind of sustainable green energy is sometimes that you hear that's negative is paid for by the companies that are producing oil that want you to believe that shit is bad. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Last home game, they got a while. The last home game is going to be a bit. It's going to be sometime in April. Yeah. A Raptors versus Sixers game Sunday. Yeah, that'll be fun. Maybe we'll sweep Nick Nurse and the Sixers. It's very likely. I'd like to sweep the Sixers this year. Let's do it. It'll be fun. Yeah. Blue Jays lost to Baltimore Orioles 12-2 opening day. I don't like hearing that, but I did hear that it was baseball opening day this week, and that was pretty cool. Trevor wants the Instagram stories. Trevor gets the Instagram stories, so let's go there right now. Slim Duck is showing footage of the ballroom from Summer League. I don't know why he's showing the ballroom footage of him working out in there and playing music over it. Slim Duck's not upset. He's just sick, and he's just not available right now. Jamal Shed and Jacoby Walter were in the back with Roy Woods. And he was teaching them like real Toronto man slang. And it's kind of comical. It's pretty funny to watch. Y'all check out the Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed, OVO greatness. You're going to have another GOAT night. I think it's tonight at the Scotiabank Arena. They do GOAT nights where it's greatest of all time. And they're celebrating Roy Woods as a OVO person. And so he's going to be the GOAT tonight. And they were filming some little thing with him and Jacoby in the back doing Toronto slang words. So that's kind of cool. That's interesting. Jamal's got footage of him in high school as a high school player, and the person saying he's been that for a while. It's pretty cool to see. Toronto Tempo president Teresa Resch was in the house at Skydome last night for the Blue Jays opener, representing the Toronto Tempo and putting them on blast in that arena in baseball, showing support for other franchises in the city as the newest franchise in the city, the Toronto Tempo. We love you, Teresa, and I hope you had fun at the game. And she's showing the anthem with the big, huge Canadian flag that was talked about, that was on the stage, was on the field. That's fantastic. That's such an awesome thing. Here we go. Here's something interesting. And Lex's first impression or first reaction is to apply for this job. Listen, y'all, seriously, this is crazy. Seriously, listen to me right now. Hear me very clearly. Teresa Resch has posted on Instagram stories a job opening to be the director of basketball operations for the Toronto Tempo. And I'm like, what? Wait a second. I want to apply. Would crazy old Lex? First of all, I don't think they'd want me, an old white guy. In some ways, they should probably hire somebody of diversity and somebody that probably a woman should do the job too. I'm just saying, but I don't know what she wants. I mean, I know basketball. I know operations. This is the job she did for Toronto, for the Raptors. She did this job for the Raptors. So in some ways, you're applying for a job that Teresa knows very, very well because she did it for the Raptors. It's a little scary. But yeah, excited to grow the basketball side of Toronto Tempo in hiring a director of basketball operations, the same role I had when I first joined the Raptors in 2013. Please note, to ensure a fair and unbiased hiring process, I will not be meeting with applicants outside of the formal interview stages. All inquiries and discussions related to the role will take place within the official hiring process. If you're interested in learning more, I encourage you to apply via the link attached. Y'all, I'm serious. This is crazy. Do the Raptor Freak channel or try and apply for director of basketball operations of the Toronto Tempo. Seriously, this is crazy. I don't know if I'm qualified, guys. If I put it in there, they probably look at me like, what is this resume? You done a YouTube channel for 3 years? What the fuck is this resume? But who knows? Maybe Teresa would like a old school basketball head like me come in there and try and help her run that. I don't know. Y'all, should I put a poll up? Should Lex apply for this job? Should Lex apply for the basketball operations job for the Toronto Tempo? This is crazy, man. I don't know. This is crazy. In some ways, it's like, all right, should Lex apply for this job? Okay. Should any of y'all apply for it? Y'all want to apply for it? I don't know. I don't know if I actually am qualified for this. Should Lex apply for this job? Start the poll. Let's see what y'all say. This is weird, man. This is weird, man. Should Lex apply for the job of basketball operations for Teresa Resch in the Toronto Tempo? That's crazy. Emmanuel Quickly has got Quickly camps coming up, y'all. Listen, he's got ones in Lexington, Bel Air, Maryland, and Toronto, Canada. The information is coming up soon. So he's going to do a Quickly camp here in Toronto. Awesome. And he'll do one in his hometown of Bel Air and also one in Lexington, Kentucky, where he played his college ball for Kentucky. So cool stuff from Emmanuel there. Jack was celebrating opening day for the for the Blue Jays. Opening day. Happy opening day, Blue Jays, from Jack Armstrong. There you go. And there he is on the set with Leo Routens doing the March Madness on TSN. Always. There you go. Celebrating game day. Let's go. There's Scotty and Emmanuel. It looks like they're going to be wearing their City Edition jerseys tonight, guys. So the Vince Carter Dunk logo jerseys will be on the Raptors when they play the Charlotte Hornets tonight. This is what it's looking like on GOAT night. That's right. The Raptors outside putting on Dove, a whole body deodorant all over himself, which is kind of crazy. New episode of Open Gym on there. Yeah, we love it. We want to see it. There's Orlando Robinson putting on blast his game from last game, 23 points, 12 rebounds, 71% field goal percentage. You go, Orlando Robinson. Good job, man. Good job. The Tempo are wishing good luck to the Toronto Blue Jays on their Instagram. And there's the GM of the Toronto Tempo at the Blue Jays game. There's Monica Rogers-Wright at the Blue Jays game, taking in the atmosphere, wearing a Blue Jays hoodie. Like to see that. There's Lindsey Dunn at the Blue Jays game. Happy opening day to those who celebrate. She's wearing a nice blue outfit there for the Blue Jays. Siakam's got crazy kinetic pictures, artsy pictures that he's taken that are kind of cool. Lowry is still getting birthday wishes posted for him on his Instagram. Wubs reposting Jacoby and Jamal with Roy Woods doing the Toronto slang. Jay Nathan's putting his shoes on blast, the Serious Players Only shoes that he represents. So check them out. AJ Lawson's laughing at his teammates with the Toronto slang as a Toronto man himself. He thinks it's funny, Jamal and Jacoby trying to do that Toronto slang. And there's Norman Powell looking nice and styled out and about with a nice black jacket and shorts on. So there you go. There's your Instagram stories right there. Teresa Resch is looking for a director of basketball operations. Should Lex apply? Y'all are saying 86% say yes. Oh, man. I don't know if I'm ready for this job, y'all. I don't know if I'm ready for this job. I don't know if I'm ready to go back into the corporate world in some ways. It's crazy. All right, let's see. Where are we on the chat? Carlos saying swapping batteries. I meant they have battery charging stations, so they swap you with the charged one and they charge the empty one. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's not like they're just disposing the batteries and they're no good and they just throw them out like lighters or pens and stuff that we do with Bic. Bic, you're wrong for that, by the way. Okay, that's good. So they keep the battery and they charge it for the next person. So it's very reusable. Fantastic. Wow. Yeah. Kareem's saying, what are we going to do with all these up and coming players we got in our pipeline next year? Fuck it. G League champs next year. Book it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is the thing, Kareem. This next year could be very different than this year because we have health and we don't have to rely on Jamal and Jacoby up here. And maybe they do get down there more, but in some ways can't learn a whole lot down there at this point. They're at the level of the NBA, and going down there may give them more bad habits than helping them in some ways. Because at this point, Jamal's a full-fledged NBA player. And going down to play on G League next season primarily may not be good for his development. Let's just put it that way. So I don't know. We're not trying to win G League championships. We're trying to win NBA championships. But we do know in our history, when we win a G League championship, NBA championship could be in the pipeline a couple years afterwards. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think we're going to get 5 rookies this year. We may be having 2 at the most, or maybe 3. I doubt 3. Probably only 2 at the most. Maybe only even 1 that even matters. So I don't know. I don't know if G League's going to be like putting a lot more on. Like I would like to see Mobo and Shamshay there next year again, of course. But the other guys, Battle may be down there some more. But I don't think Shed and Walter should be down there next year. I don't think they should. And that will not help them win a championship. Because in some ways, Shed will be down there. He could win them a championship. He could. Neil saying, paint giant eyeballs on windmills and the birds will stay away from them. Yeah, there's all kinds of ways of doing that. I was just using that as one of the dumb things that they say. This is a problem with this. They're gonna make up all kinds of convoluted bullshit reasons why EV and solar and wind is not good. It's only because the oil companies pay billions of dollars to put out information that's against that stuff to turn people against it. It's really that. You got to understand. Kaloy saying, I see, Wayne. I look forward to having BYDs here in Canada in the future. There you go. All right. We're educating. Everybody's getting educated on different stuff here and there. And I like it. I like it. This is an information channel, not just about the Raptors. It's about life and just trying to be more aware and informed. How about that? Yeah, Shaq Lindsay's here. Good to see Shaq Lindsay. It's been a while, man. Good to see you, my guy. Can Raptors buy a pick in this coming draft because they acquired cash in trading Davion and PJ? I think it's roughly $5 million. Do you think Minnesota would be willing to trade their pick? I don't know why we would do this. I mean, I think we have 2 picks in this draft already. We have the first pick, that's the first round pick that's in the lottery, that we're all speculating about very heavily. That right now we're set to be 7th, finishing 7th worst. And we'll see where that pick lands with the ping pong balls. And then there's the second round pick. So we do have 2 picks in this draft. I don't want a whole bunch of picks. I think having 5 rookies this last year was great because they all came in together and they're on the same time schedule. But we can't do that every year. And in some ways, I was just saying, I'd only rather have like 2 rookies this year at the most. If we have more than 2 rookies, I'm gonna feel like, okay, this is maybe too much. If they stash them down in G League and they don't play as much on the Raptors, okay, I can get behind that. But the first round lottery pick and then possibly a second round guy that's on the fringe of the team but playing more on G League, I think that's what's probably going to happen. Neil's saying, doesn't matter whether you buy ICE or EV, there's always a cost. The only thing that doesn't cost is walking. Yeah, or riding a bike. You can ride a bike too. Bike riding is really underrated and awesome. And I'm fully endorse riding your bike in the city. I know that some people feel like it's dangerous, but man, riding a bike in Toronto is the fastest way to get anywhere other than the subway. You can get places faster on a bike than in a car. Cars won't get you around downtown Toronto as quickly as a bike. You can literally get across town way faster on a bicycle than a car. And that's something that people don't talk about. That Doug Ford's an idiot, and he wants to take bike lanes away from Toronto, which is a totally idiotic thing. You've already spent the money on the infrastructure and it's already in there. Why the fuck would you go and spend money to rip it out and take it away? It's like so dumb. It's really, really dumb. And I hope that they stopped him from doing that, kind of like stopping him from messing up the bike lanes, because the bike lanes have a whole bunch of different like really good things about them. In fact, they help save lives and they're actually really good for slowing down people downtown. The only people that don't want bike lanes are people that just want to speed through the city in their cars. Well, in some ways, we don't want your cars downtown anyway. We'd rather have bikes and people walking in public transit than you coming down with your cars all the time. Seriously, that's just how I feel about it personally. And I drive a vehicle. I go downtown. And in some ways, I don't need to go downtown to certain areas. I wish they'd close some of the roads and let there be more walkable parts of the city that have no cars involved in them at all. It's like park your damn car and ride on the TTC downtown and leave your car up at Finch. How about that? How about that? Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's see. Shaq Lindsay saying for cash, seeing how they are way over the luxury tax. The Raptors aren't over the luxury tax. I don't think they are, actually. I think we've kept it just underneath it. We're actually pretty lucky that we don't have to pay in the luxury tax. Bobby was masterful with this. We just are underneath it. We're not on the luxury tax. I don't think that's right. Kareem's saying, I'm nitpicking, but I want to see a Scotty game, like a 40-point game. Just put the ball in the hoop. Forget all the assists. Just lock in Mamba mentality. Are you a different animal but the same beast? I'm waiting for this too. And the signs are showing that this may be coming closer than we think, because he is so aggressive at going the rim right now. And he is like changing his offensive game very quickly. Some of it has to do with transition. Now, if we could see the Raptors get a lot of turnover possibilities off the Hornets today, and they're running down the court a lot, Scotty could be doing some Menacomto stuff, because that's what he's working on, is like coming with full force downhill with the ball himself and going straight at the rim with no time off the clock, just really quickly coming at it, just like Giannis does. That's how he would do it. He's got to come relentlessly and transition at them and then mix in the threes, mix in some mid-range turnarounds, mix in all the other stuff. I'm with you on this. I'm waiting for a 50 bag from Scotty, let alone a 40 bag. He hasn't even scored 40 yet. I want to see him get 50 someday. Scotty, just do it just for fun, just to show people you can. I mean, we talked about this last summer, Scott, on Twitch. You saw your career high and you're like, wow, I didn't realize my career high is only 32. That's no good. Well, you raised it up this season already. I think you're at 36 now or something, 35 or 36. That still doesn't suit you in a player caliber of your stature. You need to have a 40-point career high. You need to think about what your career high is, Scott. And maybe even think about what the career high for any Raptor is. Fred VanVleet, 54. And maybe go beat that. Seriously, do it, Scotty. You can do it. We know you can. And Kareem's waiting for something that I'm waiting for, too. That's right. That's right. Neil's saying at Shaq, who do you want gone to make room for a pick you want to buy? See, that's the thing. There's not a lot of room on the roster, and our roster's kind of already set for next year. It's kind of already set. I'm telling you, man. That's what I'm saying there. All right. Let's see. Kareem saying, Lex, I voted yes. This way we can get free tempo tickets. Nah, man, I ain't doing that. Y'all think I'm going to give y'all free tempo tickets just because I'm the basketball operations? Nah, I'm sorry. You got to pay. In some ways, this is a business, and we need to make sure that the Tempo are a successful young franchise in the WNBA. I'm sorry. I can't do this. See, if Teresa's watching, this is the first test. It's the first test. Neil saying maybe we'll see Scotty do this next year. I don't know. I'd love for him to see him do it tonight. Why not, Scott? Wouldn't that be crazy? We're talking about this right now. And later tonight, Scotty drops 50 on the Hornets. Scotty, if you listen to us, show that you listen to Raptor Streak by go out and score 50 tonight. If we see this shit tonight, y'all, you're going to be like, holy crap. Holy crap. I can't believe this. If we see this happen tonight. Shaq Lindsay saying maybe throw in a second-round pick in cash. Would love if Raptors draft Derek Wolf from Michigan. Is that his name? I thought his Derek Queen is the name, and then it's like Danny Wolf is his name. Isn't his name Danny? Danny Wolf? I don't like that kid anyway. I like Derek Queen, though. I like him. Let's see. Smooth saying, Lex, in all seriousness, you should apply. I don't know, man. I don't know. In some ways, that might be a joke. And in some ways, I don't know if that's right. I don't know if I should have that position, guys. I don't know if I'm qualified. I really don't think I am. I don't think I'm qualified. Although, there's a lot of people getting jobs that they aren't qualified for these days. That's for sure. Just look at Trump's cabinet. Oh my gosh. Those people do not need to be doing that. Carlos saying, go ahead, apply, Lex. Let them know about your podcast and how you are great, your basketball mind. I mean, it'd be fun. I would be really behind the eight ball, though, because I don't know the WNBA product as well as I should to do that job. It's like if I had studied the WNBA like I've studied the NBA for the last 30 years, 40 years, maybe, but I don't know the WNBA well enough to do this job, I think. And in some ways, I don't know. I don't know. It's not the GM, though. And I wouldn't be doing trades and stuff. You got to understand the basketball operations is basically a glue person that does everything. That's what Teresa used to do. She had, think about it. She had to set up all the stuff for Tampa when we couldn't play up here. And that was crazy work. And she was amazing at it. She did such a good job in setting us up when we had to play a season in Tampa. And that's the operation stuff. I'd be in charge of making sure Scotiabank Arenas or the Coca-Cola Coliseum, because that's where they're going to play, is functional in the facilities. I may be in charge of the people that are, hired for employees to be ushers and security. I mean, that's what basketball operations is, right? It's not necessarily the GM does the trades. And in some ways, you're not necessarily knowing about the basketball side. You're kind of doing the operations side and making sure everything's smooth for the team to have games go off without a hitch. And there may be some nuances about rules and NBA rules and legal rules about government rules that you may need to be very well versed on so that your team is following everything correctly. I don't know. I think this is over my head, guys. I think this is over my head. I don't know if I could do this. I should tell myself I can, though. I should. Shaq Lindsay saying, not sure. Maybe trading a second pick and cash to get 2 picks in this draft. We have 2 picks in this draft. It's just one of them second round. You want 2 first-round picks. Okay, Shaq Lindsay. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't see Minnesota or Boston keeping their picks because of luxury tax penalties. That may be true, But that doesn't mean we need to be the ones that come and scoop them, right? Kaloy's saying they should go with congestive tolls downtown, like what they did in New York. Yeah. Yeah. If there's stuff that's being done in other places that's working, why not copycat league? Yeah, I'm with you on that. Trevor's saying this summer league in Vegas going to be exciting. Can't wait to see all the young Raptors win it all this year. Already make plans to be there. All right, so Trevor's going to be at summer league for Vegas. He'll be our eyes on the scene. Maybe you'll get to find the ballroom. Trevor will go into the ballroom and hang out in it. Like maybe you can get there early before they're setting up and you can like hang out in there. Maybe you can leave a note like Oshai did and say, "Hi, Grady. I know you're here for Summer League. I just wanted to tell you I was here, Trevor J, Commissioner of Fun, Raptor Freak Channel." That'd be funny if Trevor did that. He snuck into the ballroom before the Raptors got there and left a note like Oshai Abaji did for him. That'd be so cool if Trevor did that. It'd be so cool. Kaloy said, exactly. Scotty needs to show these MFers who only look at the points. These MFers say Brandon Miller has a brighter future than Scotty. Shaking my head. Wow. Wow. Now they're crazy. Brandon Miller is a certain type of player, and I respect him. And he, honestly, he's the second best player in his draft after Wemby. He really, really is. And he was way better than Scoot. Michael Jordan and the Hornets were smart to take Brandon Miller over Scoot Henderson. Listen, Brandon Miller's a player that's just like a lot of other players in this league. Scotty Barnes is not like a lot of other players in this league. And his uniqueness as who he is in his player build makes him better than Brandon Miller. And people can look at stats and crunch them that way, like you're saying, by the points. They're going to say, oh, Brandon Miller's better because he scores more than Scott. Well, you're crazy. You are crazy. And that's what I'm saying. I like what Kaloy's saying here. Go ahead and score 50 to shut them up. In some ways, if you do it tonight, we'll know. Neil's saying, I would prefer Scotty raise his average more than getting another career high. If he averages 25 to 27, it'd be great. No, I don't. Because in some ways, I like him playing the glue guy and not trying to be so aggressive scoring on most nights. It's just what we're saying here, Carlo and I, is we want him to have an aberration night where he just absolutely goes off and he scores like crazy and just dominates and just is selfish as hell. Then maybe because they don't have anybody to try and stop him, and maybe because it's really easy because of the opponent, and that he just does this. Because if he does this, he'll get eyes on him. It'll be good for him financially, and it'll quiet some of the noise that Kaloy is talking about right here. And that's why I say I don't think he should raise his average up because it's not going to help the team over the haul of the whole year. But if he has an aberration, one game where he just goes crazy and scores 50 points, that will be eye-opening. And a lot of people around the league will see it more, Scott. In some ways, we won't think you're selfish. We'll just say, well, Scotty took over this game, and he just showed if he does take over this game, this is what he's capable of. And that's what we want to see. Neil saying, yeah, you already read that. Kaloy saying, Lex, which one do you like better, Queen or Maluak? They've been saying his name all kinds of different ways. I don't know how to say Common's last name exactly. I've been saying Malak. But they were saying on March Madness, Maluak. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's like they're all over with his name. Nobody's saying it the same way, it seems like. I like Common more because in some ways the height is better. 7'2" over 6'10". That's part of it. I mean, but Queen's awesome. I would be happy with either one of them. But Common is the first one because honestly, 7'2" in a league with Oliver Ryu coming, well, the premium is on the height and the height. The highest height is better. Zach Edey, Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren. That's what I'm talking about. Fiercely saying Fred had his 2020 game against the Hornets. Scotty should have his moment too tonight. Yeah, Fred had his 20 assist game, and then he had his 50-point game against Orlando. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see what happens, Scotty. Scotty, you feel good? You feel like going and dropping some big buckets on the Hornets tonight in Scotiabank Arena? I'm all about that. Neil saying keep Derek Queen away from the Sixers. Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. We'll have to see what happens with the Sixers. Once again, I trust the Sixers will flop on their draft like they always do. They draft people and they just don't work out. Maybe they could draft a good player and they're going to be great like Markelle Fultz, but it's because they drop the ball in development or they don't know what they're doing once they have the player. Or Joel Embiid's circus show messes up their stuff, and then boom, it's like it's a waste anyway. So they could get a good player, and the player could be not a bust, but they'll screw it up because of their franchise. So let's not underestimate the ability of the Philadelphia 76ers to screw up things. Let's just seriously, guys. Trevor's saying people need to stop comparing Scotty with other players. He's a special player that comes once in a lifetime. Yeah, if you're going to compare him, you better compare him to people like Irvin Johnson. That's all I'm saying right there. Because in some ways, the closest comparison to Scotty is Magic Johnson. I know people will be like, what the fuck are you saying, Lex? That's sacrilegious. No, it's actually pretty on point if you really dig deep and look at what's going on here. Is Irvin Magic Johnson is the best player comparison for Scotty Barnes in a lot of ways. And Scotty doesn't even play point guard, but he could. And he gets rebounds like Irvin did. And he gets steals and blocks just like Irvin did. He can hit the three just like Irvin did. He can do everything that Irvin did. I'm just saying there's not a lot of people that can be said in it. And this is the thing. I'm not saying this facetiously. Irvin himself said this. I mean, if Magic Johnson's going to come out and say the guy in the league that's most like me right now is Scotty Barnes, you better listen to him. And that's the truth. He did say that. He did say that. Let's see. Kareem saying, when does the Tempo reveal their mascot? I will apply. I'll bet you want the mascot costume to be transparent, so you could like on the download streak. Well, you're also the mascot at the same time, Kareem. This would be funny, man. I don't know what the mascot's gonna be. Like, you got to think about this. Like, look at the Heat and the Magic. Their names like Tempo. They're not an animal. They're not an object. They're an idea. Magic, Heat, Tempo. So what did they do? They got Bernie down in Miami. Bernie, and he looks like a big fucking Muppet that Jim Henson like made up, just like G Wiz for the Wizards and Stuff the Magic Dragon for the Magic. Now, the Magic did good. Like, some people were saying, oh, Magic, what the hell are you going to do with that? Well, obviously, you could have done something with Disney, but Disney wasn't on board at that time. In some ways, they called the team Magic because of Disney World, Magic Kingdom. Hello, Orlando. But they couldn't overtly exactly say that they were with the Disney Corporation. But they are now. You see Disney's their sponsor in the corner now at this point. But in the beginning, they couldn't. So what'd they do? They co-opted an old song called Puff the Magic Dragon. And they made their mascot Stuff the Magic Dragon, which is perfect because it plays off of Puff the Magic Dragon, but his name is Stuff, which is like a basketball dunk. And it's the Magic Dragon because it's the magic. So it works perfectly. Stuff the Magic Dragon is very creative. So if you can use some sort of creativity like that, and the name of the Bernie being the name of the Miami Heat one because of the Heat, Bernie, and he's just like a big goofy Muppet monster too, an orange one. I don't know. Is the Tempo going to do something like that where we have some sort of G Wiz, Stuff the Magic Dragon, Bernie kind of mascot, like that one for the Flyers, Gritty, something like that, a big goofy monster, and he's going to be like, what will it be? Unisex? Will it be a particular sex? Will it just be a non-sex? And it's just a Morpheus, like Grimace or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to see. This is interesting. I do hope you are the mascot. That's the one thing I will say on this. Yeah. You have bad knees. Never mind. All right. Well, the dream is over. The dream is over. Let's see. Trevor's saying, Kareem, what's your name going to be? Boy Toy? This is the Toronto Tempo mascot. Boy Toy. And Kareem comes out and he's like wearing a stripper's outfit. He's like, oh, yeah, Toronto Tempo. It's like Teresa Resch is like, we wanted to look at something like the great Dr. Jerry Buss. He really made something with the Laker girls. And like, we want to do something up here in Canada with Chippendales or something like that. And you'll get Kareem out there and he'll be wearing a Chippendales outfit. And he's Boy Toy, the mascot of the Toronto Tempo. It's just equality, y'all. Come on now. If Jerry Buss can do that with the Laker girls, well, we're doing this with the Toronto Tempo. That's right. Okay, all right. Fiercely saying, run it back Philly, actively rooting for them to T-word. So weird to listen and making me wonder if they are really losing on purpose, or do they simply suck and lack cohesion? They're doing both. Both. But once again, like we've said on this channel for weeks now, you mess around with that kind of energy, sometimes it's hard to turn it off, and you got that loser energy for not just another year, but like another 5-10 years. And that's something that's happened with the Sixers. In some ways, their loser energy of tanking in the process and what they tried to do in the last 10 years has really hurt their culture and the core of the identity of that team. And that's part of the problem with what happened this year that people don't want to admit. As much as the Heat have Heat culture, Spurs have Spurs culture, Raptors have Raptors culture. Well, the Sixers have culture, and it's losing on purpose and tanking. And you know what? You get good at that, it's hard to break those habits. And that's the thing that's going on here. Tank artist Nick Nurse, you've done a masterful job this year, my guy. Good question. Good question. All right, let's do the classic card. We're at this point, we're right at 2 hours in the stream, and we're going to have to finish up soon because I only do 2 hours. I try to, at least. Okay, here's the card. Oh, this is perfect. This is so dumb. This is kind of really funny that this is the game today. I don't know how the classic card does this. I really don't. It's crazy. Yeah, they're losing on purpose, but they're also really bad. I mean, you got to think about this. They weren't losing on purpose for most of this year. They are now. But the Sixers were losing, just losing, because they didn't have good chemistry. They had a lot of injuries, and they were just losing. So they weren't tanking for the whole year. They were tanking recently, yes, but they weren't in the fall. They weren't tanking around Christmas either. They were trying, and they just sucked, and they're really bad. All right, classic card. It's not classic, and it's kind of stupid that we got this today. It's a Hornets card. We're playing the Hornets, and this guy's playing us. So it's like, hello, it's easy. Full name answer. Don't get Seagull and get this card that's not so classic. This is a recent card. And it's funny because we're playing this team tonight, and this guy will be in the starting lineup against us tonight. Yeah, the woman beater. You got it. You got it. I could give you the points for that. That's not actually his name. There it is. Miles Bridges is the right name. It is Miles Bridges card. And he is, yeah, a tarnished player with stuff. And Scotty says he's innocent, though. I brought it up on the Twitch one day. I said, how are you friends with Miles Bridges? He's like, Registry, what did he do, man? What did Miles Bridges do? He's all right guy. I like him. I mean, Scotty ain't got no problem with Miles Bridges. He doesn't understand why people want him out of the league so bad. But I don't know. There he is. Yeah, Miles Bridges will be playing for the Hornets tonight. He's probably their best player, seeing as LaMelo and Brandon Miller are out for tonight. So Miles will be playing. The first one that's in is Kaloy. So Carlo's going to get it. It's like DZ, you're just after him. And unfortunately, Kareem, even though your answer is right, we're not going to accept it as a legal answer. So unfortunately, you will not get the Miles Bridges, and Kaloy will today. Carlo JS, you're getting it, and it's too easy. I'm sorry, it's too easy. It's a guy who's literally playing us tonight. It's not. I'm going to give you 50 points. It's just too easy. I can't, in good faith, give you too many points for that. Yeah, Toronto winning tonight and Sunday. Yeah, we're going to beat Sixers. I believe we will win these two games too. I'm with you on that. There you go. Classic card. You like that, DK? You like it? No, I don't want the points. It's bad energy. Yeah, we're not going to give you no points. You don't get no points for that. You don't get no points for that. All right, let me see what else I got in my tabs, guys, since it seems like we're near the end here. I did that. Okay, ESPN. Let's see if there's anything interesting on their front page. Okay, the NBA Intel. This just came out. Why one agent is preparing his players for a free agent recession. Oh, interesting. So they're saying that, kind of like what happened last year. Think about what happened with Gary Trent, and the market wasn't there for him to get a full contract. So he had to take a vet minimum to play for the Bucks. I think because of the salary cap structure, there's going to be a squeeze on a lot of the middle-class players in this league. We saw it last summer, and it's going to be even worse coming up because things are going to get tightened up more and more with long-term contracts and the new salary cap. And that's interesting. The Pacers scored a franchise record 162 points last night against the Wizards. And amazingly, Siakam only had 13 points of the 162. The other thing that's really interesting about that Pacers win is 9 Pacers scored double digits in this game. 9 Pacers scored double digits against the Wizards, 162 points. It's also the biggest margin of victory for a team over the Wizards in their history as a franchise. Really, really crazy game. Let's see what else. Blue Skies. Any news from Blake Murphy? Breaking news? Anything? No. Let's see. No, he's just got the update on what's going on with the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, Grant Williams, Brandon Miller, Trey Mann, and Josh Okogie are all out for the Hornets tonight. So those are all the players out. And those are kind of the most important players, honestly. LaMelo and Brandon for sure. Trey Mann's been actually pretty good for them too. Let's see what Raptors Reddit's going on today. Raptors Reddit's always funny. This is funny. They got a meme of Gordon Ramsay, and they're saying me criticizing the Raptors, and it's Gordon Ramsay kissing his daughter, saying, "Oh dear, dear, gorgeous." And then me criticizing the Blue Jays, he says, "You fucking donkey." So it's basically like people are very nice to the Raptors in some ways when we criticize them. And I like to think that our channel has had an effect on people being nicer to the Raptors. We're trying to get some respect here. That's why we do this Raptor Freak channel. But Blue Jays fans will dump all over their team and run roughshod on them, criticizing them. I think that's the message here. And they just started. They just started their season. What the hell? Somebody's saying that the perfect outcome for the draft would be the Raptors picking first. I do not agree with that. I really do not. I really, really do not. And that's the post we saw yesterday. There's no birthdays today, guys. So I'll do the rundown coming back out of the stream real quick. Let's see what else you guys are saying in the chat real quick. The comments. Let's see. Stargate saying Brandon Miller's out. Yeah, he's out, and so is LaMelo. They're both out. I'm going to do the rundown in just a sec. I think it will be a 10 to 15 point win tonight. I think that's about right. That sounds right. 30-point difference on Sunday. That could be right, too. I could see both those things, Reggie. DK saying the Bulls defeated the Lakers yesterday at buzzer shot. That was pretty cool. We covered that. Josh Giddey, you're a hero. Wayne saying, why don't people here refuse to click the like button? Please do right now. I appreciate that, Wayne. In some ways, the like button's nice for the algorithm, and you guys do help me with that. And I appreciate everybody who hits the like button regularly. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you guys. I really do. Kareem saying, I love Pascal, but his contract puts the Pacers exactly where the Raptors were 2 seasons ago, spinning wheels in mud. Well, let's just see what legs they have in the postseason. And before we say this, let's just see what happens there. Stargate saying, why are the Wizards tanking, though? There's no player they can pick in the draft that will help them in the short run or long term. Because what else do they have to do? In some ways, it's not even that the Wizards are tanking. They're just playing, and they are who they are. I mean, that's how I felt when we played them this week, is that in some ways, it's not that they're tanking. They're just who they are. I don't think that they're tanking. I think that they just suck. They're really bad. Wayne's saying Pacers doing that means they are out of control in a bad way. Totally unnecessary run up of scoring points. I mean, Rick Carlisle's not really that kind of guy, right? He's really not that kind of guy. In some ways, I think that, it could be very well be it was more Halliburton's fault because he went crazy. Yeah, 162 to 109. That seems ridiculous. You're right. In some ways, it's not very nice. But then again, who on the Wizards has any kind of pride that they're going to stand up to this and say, don't do this to us? Don't do this to us. Chris Middleton's like sad he's just there. Jordan Poole, what is he going to do? Seriously, don't do this to us. Like, this is crazy. They had a 45-point first quarter, 38 points in the second, 42 points in the third, and 37 points in the fourth. So they didn't score less than 37 points in any of the quarters last night, the Pacers. That's insanely good, man. That is so, so good. In some ways, you can't hate on that, man. That's excellence. That is excellence. The Smooth saying Miles Turner is a coveted free agent. Pacers losing him? I don't know. They were supposed to lose him 10 years ago. They've been talking about trading Miles Turner and going somewhere else for so long. I just don't believe any of that. And I don't know. He fits so nice with Siakam. It doesn't make sense at this point. All right, let's do the rundown real quick. The Raptors tonight will not have R.J. Barrett and Ochai Agbaji. They are out on rest. They are the rest guys tonight, Ochai and RJ. Grady is out due to his injuries. Brandon Ingram's out, and Ulrich Shamshe's out. And Chris Boucher is questionable due to his illness. That's the official status of our Raptors tonight. So I'm guessing the starting lineup will be Emmanuel Quickley, Jacoby Walter, Jonathan Mobo, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl is my guesstimation for the Raptors starting lineup. So we will have Yak, IQ, and Scotty. And Jacoby probably will start too, is what I'm guessing. And Jonathan will be the other forward. I'm guessing. That's what I'm guessing. On the other side of things, we just heard the Charlotte Hornets injuries from Blake Murphy, and they're not really listing them here. But, yeah, we'll go over it again. LaMelo Ball, Josh Okogie, Brandon Miller, Grant Williams, Trey Mann, all out, not available for them. And I'm going to guess that their starting lineup tonight may be Seth Curry, Josh Green, Daquan Jeffries, Miles Bridges, and Mark Williams as their starters. They don't even start Nurkic. I don't understand that. They got Yusuf Nurkic on their team. In some ways, we will see him tonight. Yusuf Nurkic, just so y'all know. The referees for tonight in the replay center, Natalie Sego, Fantasy Ransom, and Danielle Scott. And for the game, David Guthrie is the crew chief. It's the first time David Guthrie's refereed the Raptors this season. He's a pretty even referee for both teams, but he does favor the Raptors slightly. Jason Goldenberg's the second ref. He very much favors the Raptors. He's one of the best referees in the league for the Raptors. And CJ Washington's the third ref. He is one of the worst referees for the Raptors statistically. And he does slightly favor the Raptors very, very much by 2 percentage points. Very, very little favor for the Raptors. So, yeah, that's your crew. David Guthrie, Jason Goldenberg, CJ Washington. CJ is against us. Jason's for us. And David's neutral. Let's just put it that way. David's neutral. All right, that's about it, guys. Oh, one more time, y'all. Crofters. Crofters Jam is 100% Canadian Ontario jam. And I'm teaching y'all Canadian products that you can buy more Canadian. And this is a great jam product. Crofters, a couple that came from Germany, emigrated here and started this company in the 90s. And it's just blown up since. So let's buy Canadian here inside our own province. And you're going to support Canadian jobs, Canadian economy, and keep the money in our system here. Nothing going to the States anymore, guys. So if you're wondering what kind of jam you can get, this high quality Crofters is the one. And Trevor's got it apparently in Florida. He's got some of this stuff down there right now. It's good stuff. Trust me. This is a berry mix. It's got blueberry, raspberry, and strawberry all in the same jam jar. Yeah, that's right. Jam on it. Jam on it. Jam on it. Jam on it. Nucleus. There you go. Jam on it. Jam on it. Yeah. Let's see. DK saying Oklahoma City Thunder 8-game winning streak. Oh, what's new? Hello. And Wayne saying was okay with the Pacers. Not anymore. Not supporting any team in the East. OKC all the way, hopefully. Jam product. That's right. Jam on it. That's right. Fantastic. We'll look for that jam. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. If you want to buy Canadian jam, don't buy Smuckers. Buy Crofters. Crofters is 100% for sure. And it's Ontario from Parry Sound also. And if your store does not carry it, ask the manager to start carrying it. I want this because this is a Canadian. Crofters. There you go. There you go. Jam on it. Jam on it. Yeah, I like this. I'm not mad at them for running the score up. In some ways, Jack Armstrong saying that the Wizards should be relegated. Well, let's just run the score up on them and humiliate them. Maybe that'll prod them to do something. Do something. Come on, do something. You aren't humiliated by getting beaten by the Pacers by so much. See, I look at it differently. I mean, I understand running up the score in different sports is always in bad taste. Like, it used to be an issue at Florida State when Bobby Bowden was our coach. Because Bobby Bowden and the Florida State Seminoles were really good in college football in the 90s. And we got accused of running up the score quite a bit in certain games. And people were like, oh, the Seminoles are classless for running up the score. Bobby Bowden would do it. But, yeah, I mean, I get that mentality. In baseball, if you're, like, already up by a certain amount of runs, why are you still doing that? It's like showing people up. But I think the Wizards need this treatment because they've been so bad for so long. Let's kick them in some ways to see if they're alive still. Do you have any pride, Wizards, in any kind of way? I mean, that's kind of how I feel like that. DK saying, I like the classic chips and Diet Pepsi, 591 milliliter bottle. Yeah, don't buy any more Pepsi. Don't buy no Coke. Buy Canada Dry. Apparently, Canada Dry is actually Canadian. So Canada Dry is a good thing to buy. And then also Clearly Canadian is another good one. Oasis is another good Canadian product of drinking. There are Canadian drink companies, and you just got to figure out which ones are which. No more Coca-Cola for me. No. Screw that. Ain't no Coke, no Pepsi. Nothing American is coming into my body anymore. No, it's not. I am only eating purely Canadian and international other than American at this point. I'm at that point. Yeah, you like Lay's classic potato chips? Well, don't buy Lay's no more. Buy Covered Bridge, DK. Go get that Covered Bridge potato chips. That's the one right there. That's right. And Stargate just watched the Open Gym episode, and it was amazing. I know. It was awesome. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream. I'll be back tomorrow with a reaction to this game we're going to watch tonight. The Charlotte Hornets at Toronto Raptors, Scotiabank Arena tonight, 7:30 tip. Let's go, Raptors. I feel real good about y'all winning tonight. ESPN matchup predictor saying 78% chance the Raptors will beat the Hornets at home in this situation tonight. With no LaMelo and no Brandon, I feel real good about it. And Scotty, why not? Just go and get 50 points tonight against the Hornets in the hometown crowd in Toronto. RJ's not playing. You could maybe step up and be that scorer tonight. We'd love to see it on the Raptor Free channel. Yes, we would. So 83% of y'all say I should apply for the basketball operations job for Toronto Tempo. Well, I'll consider it. We'll see if I do that later this afternoon. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. I love you guys. Thanks for Raptor Shrieks. Let's like, comment, subscribe, and share. I appreciate y'all liking once again. And if you want to join the channel, you can join our Facebook group and get to have live commenting during the games from me and Monique, the superfan Lawrence, and Trevor J, platform artist. And you can see all the stuff that we're talking about during the game and we reference to on the stream sometimes. I appreciate everybody. Let's go Raptors. Let's win. And I love you guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors. Defense. Defense.